the hoi polloi and back in the steerage with the rats. There's no beverages being served, and there's just kind of this social thing where, back here we wear masks, up there they don't. And that was my experience on one flight, well, two flights, coming from Florida to Bradley.
But they still mandated that you wear the mask while walking about the airport.
Well, if you had a beverage in your hand and you were sipping, then no problem.
No problem.
So, that's the kind of the trick.
It's so odd.
I mean, I had a cup of coffee from
But you didn't have one while you were getting on the plane, right? They forced you to mask up for that.
I had the cup with me. I didn't look. I'm not trying to raise the ire of hardworking airport staff or anything like that. So
Sure.
I'd wear my mask whenever it was fine with me. I mean, I'd take it off when it was fine with me too. And I never had an issue where somebody's like, mask must be on. But I'll tell you, they announced multiple times during the flight that you had to have your mask on unless you were, under the age of 2. So basically, even people with beverages, I saw a lady throw a beverage away half drank because she wanted to, have her mask on because everybody else had theirs on.
So COVID's not going to get you if you're eating or drinking,
Right.
but if you're not eating or drinking, COVID's going to get you unless you have a mask on.
Smoking protects you as well. We learned this at the concert or the comedy show that we went to.
I do not want to take up smoking again. Damn it!
All you had to do was walk around with a cigarette, and you're totally fine. You could walk around; nobody would hassle you. But if you walked to the bathroom by yourself without a cigarette, then they would say something to you.
And I mean, probably the most ludicrous thing that we're doing in America right now is restaurants can be open so long as people wear masks, which practically means I ate at an outdoor restaurant yesterday.
Where?
In
The airport?
No, it was in Charlotte.
Okay.
I was checking out a project there. And, I had to not have my mask on when I was coming in from outside. Stepping into the door for 6 feet to the hostess station, mask needed to be on. Then we went from the hostess station back outside to sit outside to eat, which I prefer anyway, generally. If the weather's nice, I'm going to sit outside. So, in order to keep people safe in an open-air restaurant with there's not air conditioning or anything going on. This is doors wide open, breeze blowing through kind of thing. In order to keep people safe, I had to put my mask on for the 6 feet in and for the 8 feet out. And that was going to somehow keep people safe. I got to my table. Of course, I removed my mask. So this is ladies and gentlemen, this is insane.
It is. It's obedience training is what it is. I bumped into the same thing here in Keene. I attempted to go to a place where I've been in many a time for lunch, and it's not been a problem for me to just wander in. They're a restaurant, and they have a bar inside, and it's never been a problem for me to walk in and just meander into the bar and sit down by myself for my lunch. That all changed while you were out of town.
This is in Keene?
In Keene.
Okay.
Yeah, I walked in. I was confronted by the front desk person, and I was like...
A regular. You're a regular.
Yeah, they've seen me in there many a time. She was like, you got a mask for you? I'm like, no, I'm just going to the bar. And she's like, well, you got to have one before you get up there. And I'm like, I have a medical exemption. And she's like, doesn't matter. We have a sign.
Wow.
And then other people came up because, she started getting loud and I started getting, it was escalating, and I finally just turned around and said,
see you later.
I walked out like, if y'all don't want my business, that's far outside and right on. I'll just never come back.
Well, I mean, it's hard for me to say I would never come back to a place because I know a lot of these places are just operating out of fear.
Yeah, I mean, that's how I felt at the moment. My point, I guess, was that I think what you were about to say was, so if you're sitting down with the mask off, you're fine. COVID can't get you. But if you stand up and you don't have a mask, COVID's going to get you. You got a mask up.
Well, I mean, it's just stupid.
It's horrendous is what it is.
It's as you said, Mark, it's insane. I'm going to just briefly recap for the two of you because I don't know if you've heard. We talked about this last night on Free Talk Live. You guys weren't here for that show. But in Boston and likely in other cities where the weather's getting cold out and these restaurants are perceiving that their customers are afraid to go inside, they're actually building what they're describing as igloos. These sort of clear, it's not plexiglass or whatever, but it's some sort of like stretchy version of that, basically, in a sort of an igloo geometric or geodesic sort of dome. That's large enough to...
Outside or inside?
Outside.
Outside, okay.
Outside, so that way people can still dine quote, outside
al fresco
while it's getting colder out. And these people are the restaurants are spending upwards of $1,700 per dome.
Igloo. Yeah.
With heating and everything.
And don't forget, it's important that our server, while we sit there unmasked, that our server come to our table with the mask on. I mean, it just doesn't make any sense.
And they say things like,
I'm sorry, I can't hear you. Like, legitimately.
What's the special today?
I've worked in broadcasting most of my life.
Yeah.
I can't hear anything.
I know.
I wear headphones for a living.
There's one place where in town that has the sort of the hanging plexiglass, and then their employees are masked behind the plexiglass.
Right.
So not only are their voices obscured by the fact that they have a mask on, but they're also obscured by the fact that there's then plexiglass hanging right in front of them. And there's been more than one occasion where I'm like, what? Huh?
Yeah. And how bad? I mean, everything that is frustrating that we're talking about here is frustrating as a customer. But how bad is it
the employee?
For the employee?
Oh, it's got to be insane.
This is the reason, by the way, I'm doubling my tips right now.
Wow.
And the reason I'm doubling my tips isn't because I believe in tipping. I don't. I think it's a stupid thing to do. But I understand that people are being brought back to work. They have to come back to work. Or in many cases, prior to the unemployment thing, they were coming back to work voluntarily. Unless you're making $25 an hour.
Some people aren't coming back to work. There's a 24-hour place, or it's supposed to be a 24-hour place, called the Red Arrow. It's a diner chain in New Hampshire, and they opened up a store in Nashua during COVID. Amazingly, like they were in the process, right? Like they'd started the process long before, because it's just not something you can do in a week, right?
That's impressive.
They opened up a brand new store, but they're not 24/7. And I asked the guy, the owner, who I have a relationship with now because we put a crypto vending machine in his Nashville store, which is awesome. But I asked him, when are you guys going to go 24 hours again? He says, we don't have the staff.
Can't do it. Can't do it.
I mean, that's why. It's not because of some sort of government restriction. They don't have enough people who can work or want to work.
Will work.
Yeah.
Well,
crazy.
I think it's been talked about here, too, something along the lines of 60% of all the businesses that have closed as a result of the lockdowns.
We got more coming up here. Hold that thought. This is Free Talk Live.
Want to accept Bitcoin at your online store? There's a good chance you already have what you need: a WordPress using WooCommerce and a Bitcoin address. Now all you need to start taking Bitcoin payments on your website is the AnyPay app on your Android or iPhone. Just paste your Bitcoin address into AnyPay, then connect it to your website with our one-click plugin for WordPress. Now your website takes Bitcoin, start to finish, in 15 minutes or less with no complicated steps. Download AnyPay from the App Store today.
News from news.bitcoin.com. Despite years of warnings about cryptocurrency, criminals prefer U.S. dollars for money laundering, study shows. Jim Rogers predicts end of U.S. dollar dominance. Macro strategist Raul Paul says Bitcoin beats gold in every way. New crypto, sushi, plummets around rumors of exit scam. Bitcoin.com is your source for getting started with cryptocurrencies, getting a wallet, buying Bitcoin Cash, mining, and all the latest cryptocurrency news at news.bitcoin.com.
Bear, the rescue dog, had very flaky skin, dropping a lot of fur, and Levette wanted to do steroid injections. I was at a dead end.
DINOVITE.com.
Probably 6 weeks after we started using Dinovite, no more flaky skin. He doesn't scratch and itch. It was awesome.
You get some Dinovite, how happy your dog will be.
Every rescue dog in America deserves Dinovite for 90 days.
DINOVITE.com.
Divvy's been a pretty good investment for Free Talk Live. Their ad campaign started in September 2019, and from mid-March to mid-July, the values soared by 10 times. It's not too late. Divvy's new wallet hasn't even released yet, and other things are happening that I can't even say on the radio. If you want to invest and potentially do well, go to DivvyProject.org. I can tell you that FTL is deepening its partnership with the guys from DivvyProject.org. Past performance is not an indication of future profit. DivvyProject.org. DIVI Project.org.
A congressman recently revealed that legislation totaling 2,900 pages and involving more than $1 trillion was available to members of Congress for less than 48 hours to study and consider. That's over 60 pages of legislation per hour. Do You think anyone read the entire bill? I'm Jim Babka with DownsizeDC.org. Consider a proposal buried in a 3,200-page, $388 billion bill, which would have empowered committee chairmen or their agents to examine Americans' tax returns. When this horrible provision came to light, no one claimed to know how it got into the bill. One congressman questioned said, "I didn't write it, I didn't approve it, I wasn't even consulted." If your attorney represented you this way, he might be disbarred. But this is how Congress represents you every day. That's why DownsizeDC.org has created the Read the Bills Act. You can force Congress to read their bills before they pass them at DownsizeDC.org.
Some of you asked, and now we've delivered. LRN.FM's live Keene, New Hampshire studio shows are now streamed in HD on Twitch. Visit our channel at twitch.lrn.fm and give it a follow. If you have Amazon Prime, you get one free subscription on Twitch. If you use it on our channel, Twitch will give LRN.FM a monthly piece of your Prime subscription cost. So please watch, follow, share, and subscribe to twitch.lrn.fm. That's twitch.lrn.fm.
There are basically two types of advertising, direct response and branding. Radio's great for direct response with its low cost to listener ratio, but audio can't be beat for branding, which is a longer-term endeavor. You want to be the first thing that someone thinks of when they think about your product or service. If you have a local business that you want kept top of mind in your community, call the station. If you need national reach, Free Talk Live's got around 200 radio stations, millions of monthly listening sessions, can suit all budgets, and if we don't think we're right for you, we'll tell you. Email me, mark@freetalklive.com.
What's up next? Visit the Liberty Radio Network program guide to find out at shows.lrn.fm. That's shows.lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live. You can join us here. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. We're just kind of talking about Mark's experience traveling on airlines, which a lot of people haven't been doing recently. In fact, I don't think you said this on the air, Mark, but off the air you said the flights were fairly sparse. As far as
there's not that many people on the planes.
What would your estimate be? Like, what kind of plane were you on, and how full was it?
I don't know what kind of plane it is. It's those American Eagles, the small ones. So it's not a 737, which is what Southwest flies.
Six in a row?
No. Four in a row.
So four. So two and two?
2 and 2.
Okay.
And then up front where the rare air is, it's 3 seats. So I mean, at no point when I looked on the plane was it a necessity for a person to sit next to another person.
Okay, so half full at the most.
At the most.
Would you say?
And I would say that less than half full is a fair estimation in both flights. I took 3 flights on this particular to get from Sarasota, Florida to Hartford.
Now, I've heard tell that, or at least one story where a plane, even though it was, say, less than half full, they made everybody sit together anyway.
I've heard of that too. Yeah. Very strange.
Was this the case, or was it, were people, like, normally the last time I flew, the plane was packed and I had to sit in my exact designated seat.
Yeah.
Was that the case?
No. So the last leg of the flight, I was sitting next to a gal, and here we are surrounded by seats that have no one in them, and we're sitting together. It's like, hey, thanks. You seem very nice and everything, but I'm going to another spot as soon as the thing moves.
Not because you were afraid of COVID, but just to stretch out, right? To have the extra room.
Why would I? I don't need to talk to this person. I'm going someplace else.
Yeah, if you're one of 3 people on an entire Greyhound bus, there's no reason to sit next to each other unless you want to.
But in this case, what I will call the air wardens.
Oh my God! That's how bad it is.
They weren't great. Okay, these people were not nice.
And was this United?
I'm not giving the name of the particular airline because I don't know which ones are good and which ones are bad, but it wasn't delightful. And I usually have a good experience on this particular airline. And they were like, before you move, let us know. Why?
Oh, so now you have to ask for the hall pass to go potty?
That was basically it. So, while the guy's saying it, I point at the empty seats in front of me, and he gave me a nod. So, I mean, it was just a show of power.
So was this air warden person, a new employee, or was he?
I have no answers.
A reigning steward.
I remember being on a United flight a few years ago with one of these air wardens who was just relishing telling people what to do, and it was like we were on like a Nazi airline or something like that. It was a ridiculous experience.
Well, nobody got gas, so let's not overstate it.
This was like 3 years ago.
Have you eaten airline food?
No, they don't give any of that now.
Oh, right.
Just gone.
You don't get to eat now?
There's no beverage. There's no food.
I thought you said you did have a beverage in front of you.
In first class.
They won't take a beverage cart to the back?
There's no beverage cart rolling up and down. This is what I'm trying to communicate. There is no beverage cart, no snacks,
God.
no nothing.
You got to bring your own water bottle.
Yeah, if you want to, drink something while you're on the plane, you better bring it in.
Airports now BYOB.
$5 a bottle, baby, for all your water.
All right, so I got to tell you about AnyPay's new WordPress plugin. If you've got a WordPress and you are already running WooCommerce, you're ready to start taking cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin Dash, Bitcoin Cash, Bitcoin SV. All you got to do is get the AnyPay plugin for your WordPress WooCommerce, which if you've got WooCommerce, you know how easy it is to be selling things online. Now it's easy to take crypto. All you need to do is plug in your AnyPay username into the plugin, and that's it. You're all set. You're taking crypto. As long as you've got an AnyPay username, which takes like 5 minutes, to do that. So go to anypayinc.com, anypayinc.com, and get started with accepting crypto today. Jerome is on the line. Coming up, we'll tell you about flights to nowhere. Since we're talking about airlines, they're in the news right now. This is a new thing, flights to nowhere. But Jerome, you're up. Go ahead, Free Talk Live.
Which one of you said the Nazi airline wisecrack?
That was Ian.
I compared United Airlines to Nazi Airlines.
Did they ask you for your papers?
Hey, you've never been on a Nazi airline because that's a ridiculous comment.
It's just to paint a picture, Jerome. It's just to paint a picture.
What would you know about a Nazi airline?
Jerome.
Have you ever met a Nazi? Have you ever been in a concentration?
Actually, yes, I have met a Nazi. We had a show host become a racist over time, and we fired him from the airwaves here on Free Talk Live, and he became a full-on self-described Nazi. So actually, yes, I have. But the reason I used the description was to give listeners the idea of just how regimented, just how strict, and how ridiculous this particular airline's flight attendant was behaving. And this was like 3 or 4 years ago, I think.
And they do, in your defense, they do use the term grammar Nazi, right, to describe somebody who's extra vigilant about grammar.
Yeah, it's not to suggest that they were actually killing Jewish people on the airline, Jerome. Don't take it that far.
Absolutely. There you go. There's my point. You've never been on. You compared the airline that you had a problems with to Nazi. This would be like Trump saying he's.
I was wondering when Trump was going to come up. I was like the first time Jerome's talked about something without bringing Trump up in the first minute.
Trump says he's regularly shot in the 70s in golf. That man has never shot. Like in golf, he said he played.
Oh, in the 70s, is that like a score for golf?
Yeah, it's like a really low score. I don't know anything about golf.
Me neither. I've only played mini golf in my life.
I find golf to be an elitist sport.
But I know a 70 is pretty good,
Well, what about the handicap? I mean, could he be figuring in his handicap? I don't know. Again, I don't know much about golf.
Brain is his handicap.
I think we can all agree that he certainly is handicapped.
Yeah, I agree with you there.
Don't leave me any low-hanging fruit because I'll grab at it. Okay?
Hey, take it away, man. That's what it takes on the radio. We'll take the lowest shots we possibly can.
And
appeal to the lowest common denominator.
Right. His tax returns, and then Judge Ginsburg passing away, God rest her soul. I said,
it's another dead judge.
Like years, months, whatever.
I'm so tired of her. Like nobody.
And then you hear Margaret Hoover saying, "Oh, this was a gift." No,
who?
Margaret.
I don't know who that is.
Margaret Hoover. She's like this really.
She's a vacuum cleaner maker.
Who's a Republican. She's a really blonde talk show host.
Oh, sounds awful.
That's a talk show host. I guess she's related to Herbert Hoover, one of the famous Hoovers that were in government a long time ago. Hey,
Jerome, thanks, man.
No, Margaret, it's not a gift, okay? Someone dying after fighting for their life.
She was in her 80s. I mean, probably going to die anyway. I'm surprised they didn't blame it on COVID.
Right.
Hey,
That is not a gift. That is a disgusting thing to say. But you know what? They wanted her to die, so now they can rig the Supreme Court just like they did the Senate when they rigged that phony impeachment hearing where they didn't have any witnesses.
Well, hold on. This is Ruth Bader Ginsburg's fault. You know that, right? Like, she should have gotten out 6 years ago. I mean, her age isn't any news to anyone. She was next to go.
Thank you, Jerome, for your call tonight. Always appreciate your input and your thoughts. Of course, our phone lines are open for you as well at 855-450-FREE, whether it's Ruth Bader Ginsburg, airline mask madness. And in fact, Mark, I know you said you wanted to comment on Ruth Bader Ginsburg, so we'll do that coming up too. 855-450-FREE like freedom. This is Free Talk Live, and it's the live Saturday show.
So when we brought him home, we didn't realize that Bear, the rescue dog, was actually sick. He had very flaky skin. He was dropping a lot of fur, and Levette wanted to do steroid injections, special dog food. Nothing seemed to work, so I was at a dead end.
DINOVITE.com.
I've been hearing Dinovite on the radio for years. It never actually crossed my mind to try it until it finally sunk in. Oh, you're talking about hair and skin, and all right. I'll try it. Well, it took probably 6 weeks, but after we started using Dinovite, no more flaky skin, he doesn't scratch and itch, and he started to put weight on.
Dinovite is nutrition.
I wish that we would have started the Dinovite right away. It would have been so much easier.
You won't believe how happy your dog will be.
Every rescue dog in America deserves Dinovite for 90 days.
DINOVITE.com.
Why did you move to the Shire?
I moved here to the Shire because there's other people around who take liberty just as seriously as I do.
I moved to the Shire because I saw videos of people challenging authority and thought that I could get support myself. It called to me, like, do this, right now.
I wanted to be around people like me who got it, and once I got here, I knew there was nowhere else that I wanted to be.
I've always wanted to change the world, so I moved to the Shire to join people who were actually working towards doing the same thing.
The people here are awesome, loving, and positive. It was for the adventure and for the feeling of something important is happening here, and I just wanted to come to sort of be part of that.
Visit ShireSociety.com to read and sign the Shire Society Declaration and learn the reasons why, if you love liberty, you should immigrate to the Shire. Plus, connect with others via the forum at ShireSociety.com. That's ShireSociety.com.
Looking for a great real estate investment? Consider New Hampshire, which is ground zero for the Liberty Movement. Your first call should be to Mark Worden from Porcupine Real Estate. He's more than just a real estate agent. He's your New Hampshire concierge. Where are the best places to live? Do you want farm, city, the burbs, or forest? Do you want a duplex or multifamily building so that renters pay your mortgage? There are homes in all price ranges in New Hampshire, and Mark can help with financing too. Invest in liberty and property. Mark Worden can help.
PorcupineRealEstate.com.
So you've heard all 3 hours of the latest episode of Free Talk Live, and you're still hungry for liberty-oriented audio content? Did you know that we have another 24/7 audio stream at LRN.FM? The Liberty Radio Network airs the latest episodes of some of the best liberty-oriented podcasts on the internet around the clock. In addition to recorded content, you'll also hear live shows like Free Talk Live, originating from our Keene, New Hampshire studio. So listen anytime at LRN.FM. That's LRN.FM. LRN.FM's free-to-air satellite feeds blanket most of 2 continents. It was my goal to put our channel there so people without internet could receive our programs and feed pirate radio stations. As our contract with our satellite provider is coming up for another 3-year renewal, I have to consider calling it quits. It's rare that we get feedback or support from our satellite users. We started a fundraiser a few years ago, and though there are a bunch of great contributors to it, as of this recording, it covers 15% of our monthly satellite costs. Please email lrn@lrn.fm and tell me how you use the satellite feed. Better yet, chip in at fund.lrn.fm. The costs aren't the issue. We can afford them, but why continue something not valued by the market? Want to help? You can join our satellite fundraiser for just $2 a month at fund.lrn.fm. If we raise enough to keep both channels on the air, awesome. If we raise more, I'll add more channels. If not, we can shut them down and go internet only. It's up to you. Thank you for your support. Fund.lrn.fm.
Live video of our key New Hampshire-based shows is streamed on DLive. Please follow and share at dlive.lrn.fm. That's dlive.lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live. You can bring up anything you want here. Live Saturday edition of the program. Our toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. Like freedom from mid-March to mid-July of this year. Divvy, which is a newer, easy-to-use cryptocurrency we've been promoting here on Free Talk Live. It went up over 10x in that time frame. Now, it has gone down since then, so it might be a good time to grab some of it. DivvyProject.org, DIVIProject.org is where you can go to learn more about Divvy and how you can actually earn Divvy by staking it or becoming a masternode, which is supposed to be a pretty easy process. I've got the Divvy node downloaded here. I've just been super busy, and honestly, I haven't had a chance to get to it yet, but it's something I intend to do within the next week, and then I'll be able to speak more to that. DivvyProject.org. You can go there, get started with Divvy, DIVIProject.org. We go back to your phone calls and thoughts. Turd is on the line in Pennsylvania. You're on Free Talk Live with Ian the Captain and Mark.
Yeah, hi, Ian the Captain, Mark. I'm calling about this person, Ruth Bader Ginsburg.
Yeah,
who
okay.
I believe, who I believe Jerome mentioned before the break, and I really don't think that Jerome should actually have any respect for this person. I mean, this person was a gun grabber, and she was a judge on the Supreme Court. And when you're a judge on the Supreme Court, basically your duty, I guess, especially if you're a judge in the United States, is pretty much to hurt innocent people, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. And with all the guns that she's grabbed, I really just don't think this person deserves any of our respect. And Jerome, if you're still listening, I would say that you should not respect her either. As a matter of fact, you should probably be happy that she's dead. It's one less tyrant on the world to tell you what to do.
Yeah, but she's just going to get replaced by another tyrant. I mean, they're all tyrants.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's true. I didn't say that anyone else on the Supreme Court is less of a tyrant than she is.
Okay.
I think they're all people that want to ruin people's lives. And I don't think a Supreme Court should even exist in this country. I think it's done a lot more harm than good.
Yeah, I think we should abolish the Supreme Court and abolish the federal government entirely all at once. Just get rid of this. This whole thing has been a failure, and it needs to end.
Well, I would agree that the federal government has grown way beyond whatever the founders intended. I'd like to see, some kind of shot at, some kind of. I think there are benefits to federalism if one wishes to have them. But I got to say, I think this is the most important part about this whole Ruth Bader Ginsburg thing is that what the Democrats aren't doing. And by the way, I have some scolding for the Republicans coming up here in a second. But what the Democrats aren't doing is you saying anything about. It was Ruth Bader Ginsburg's own selfishness, her desire, presumably, for power that last 6 years. She should have checked out in the middle of Obama's second term.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Right.
And gone home, gone and had a fine life instead of spending the last 6 years bothering people.
If she was trying to help the Democrats, she should have done that.
And I believe she's quoted as saying that she doesn't want to see a second Trump term. Well, no problem. So, I mean, this this whole problem would be solved had she checked out at a certain time. Obama would have made some other liberal appointee. But
so
now
you're saying she wasn't a team player, and now as a result, the points go on the Trump side.
I don't know that it's true. So we're really late in the season here, and remember what the Republicans did when their guy Scalia died in the middle of the the end of the Obama administration.
What did they do?
They stonewalled the appointee that the Obama administration had, Merrick.
They're not worth remembering.
I can't. Yeah,
Merrick Garland.
That's him. Thank you, Merrick Garland. And they stonewalled him and said basically, well, this is the final year of Obama's term, so we're not going to take any appointees from him, which is a stupid thing to say because now chickens, they do come home to roost. Now they're roosting because it would have been possible that Trump could get a final appointee in here into Ginsburg's slot had they not done that, had they taken, or at the very least.
But what you're saying is they're going to do the stonewalling now on the other side.
And why wouldn't they? They're absolutely right to do it. See, at the very least, what the Republicans should have done is given the hearing and then voted against Garland. But this whole saying, we're just not going to have a hearing, well, that's That's dirty pool as far as I'm concerned.
Well, either way, it won't matter. The government will get larger and more intrusive and more oppressive than it ever has, and none of these so-called justices in their robes have done jack squat, with the exception of the very occasional correct decision, but it's usually 10 pro-state, pro-authoritarian, pro-government decisions for every one that they might get right. So it's not like we're going in any sort of correct direction, or that this woman dying is going to somehow correct any of that.
I think it's worth pointing out, and it never gets said enough, in my opinion, that there are far more 9-0 decisions by the Supreme Court than there are 5-4. Let's see, I've got
unanimous in favor of the state.
Washington Post. It says that it's average 36% of all decisions are 9-0, and then when you add in, it's another 15%, which are 7-2 and 8-1 judgments. However, 5-4 decisions are only 19% of cases.
Wow. Turd, other comments? Go ahead.
Yeah, well, no, I'm glad actually Mark hit on that, because that was the other point I wanted to make, is this is really all her fault, because if she had just done what she was asked to do by her own leftist colleagues and stepped down at the appropriate time, this wouldn't be an issue right now and nobody would be talking about this. But here's the even funnier part of all this, is that people right now, they're all talking about her last wish, and her last wish apparently was just for Trump to wait till after the election to pick his replacement for her, which by the way, let me preface this by saying I don't think that's ever happened in history. Like, I don't think a president has ever why
would he do that?
Off. Yeah, right. There'd be no that's really it's and here's the other thing. Here's the even funnier part about that is it's a really stupid request actually to even like go to the president and say, well, this person's last wish was that you really don't pick the Supreme Court new justice right now. And in fact, you wait until after the election that you might not win. I mean, nobody's that stupid. I mean, and here's the other thing. I mean, it's her last wish. So what?
Who cares?
Who do they think owes this person a last wish?
She's been paid all kinds of money over however long her damn career has been. She's gotten a ton of benefits.
Right. Let's just go around the nursing homes in America and ask people for their last wish. I mean, the people suffering from Alzheimer's may want ponies or something.
Turd, thanks for the call tonight. Appreciate it.
Here's my problem with ruthless, toothless Ginsburg dying. This happens as a result of the internet, or at least I noticed it happening with all of my musician friends. Some obscure musician would die, and people who have never mentioned this musician's name previously would suddenly be all over that. Oh my gosh, I'm so sad that this musician that I've never frickin' mentioned to anybody ever has died. I celebrate their whole. No, it's this faux attention that they seek by being collectively sad about a thing that had literally zero impact on their life.
Look, I'm in mourning.
Right, exactly. And now, because everybody's locked down under the COVID restrictions, this is happening to this type of a figure. The statist scum, ruthless, toothless Ginsburg has died, and hundreds, if not thousands of people on social media are now suddenly sad for a person that they never met, they never gave two bits about before.
Who never did anything for them.
Never did anything for them, and they had never mentioned previously in their life. They just want to be part of the collective mourning, and that is a problem with humanity.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I remember seeing that. I think the first time that really was clear to me as a young person
fake.
was Princess Diana.
Yes.
When she died was all this mourning over her from people in so many places, and it's just like, another politician.
I would say that, Princess Diana is not a politician.
She's sort of born into it.
She wasn't born into anything. She married. I mean, the only thing Princess Diana did notable up to that point was get married, right? To a royal. And whereas Ginsburg, I'd say, at the very least, I think I can acknowledge that she was a tough lady who had had her own principles, whatever those things might be, and
the principles of power and statism.
Yeah, there's a lot of that. Yeah,
there's nothing to respect there.
Just saying, she's notable in so much as she was one of the first women to reach such high, lofty.
So she's notable like a Don in the Mafia is notable. Right, because the Don is in charge. He's, the head gangster. One of his lieutenants might be somewhat notable as well. Right?
I guess it's notable that the Don is a Donya, right? And so, yeah.
855, 450 free. Coming up, the flight to nowhere that sold out in 10 minutes. We'll tell you what that's all about on the way.
Nihilists?
You can share your thoughts. It is Free Talk Live.
Are you afraid to go to the mailbox because of letter after letter from the IRS? Are they stacking on more and more penalties and interest? By now, you know the problem won't go away on its own. Don't let the IRS chase you to your grave with penalties and interest and liens and levies. You need real help now. I'm Dan Pilla. I wrote the book on tax debt settlement, and I help thousands of people solve tax problems they thought couldn't be solved. I can help you too. Call 800-34-NO-TAX or go to my website, danpilla.com. That's danpilla.com. danpilla.com.
Attention radio listeners, if you're concerned about the coming chaos after the November elections, this will be an extremely important message. Here's why. No matter what the outcome in November, catastrophic social upheaval is a very real possibility. Here's why this is important. Listen, we all know that silver and gold have been historic hedges against the uncertain waves of social chaos and unstable currencies. But did you know that there's been times in the past, during times of extreme hardship, when Americans put another store of value above even silver and gold? It's true, open-pollinated seeds have been and could very well be the ultimate store of value in the coming hard times ahead. Go to survivalseedbank.com to get heirloom seeds below wholesale. Visit survivalseedbank.com this week and get hundreds of dollars in free bonuses. Beat the coming chaos, beat rising food prices, but above all, don't wait. Beat the crowds by claiming your own Survival Seed Bank today.
With a MECTEC carbine conversion unit, you can turn an XD family Glock or 1911 handgun into a carbine rifle in seconds and have it shipped right to your door, no FFL required. Now, MECTEC is excited to announce our pistol carbine conversion unit. More compact with a 12-inch barrel and an arm brace, proving once again that MECTEC is the world's most versatile handgun accessory. For a limited time, go to handgunconversions.com. That's handgunconversions.com and use coupon code RADIO to receive $35 off any carbine purchase.
So the protection of life, liberty, and property is what the Free State Project is all about. But it's an effort to move 20,000 people who understand.
It's about demonstrating to the entire country
that, yeah, we can have a free market, a truly free market.
Making it just a freer, great place to live.
It's the world's largest voluntarist libertarian community, and it's only getting bigger.
That's amazing, to be able to move to a place where other people passionately believe in being free and independent.
What the Free State Project is managing to do, though, is to put their money where their mouth is. It's physically getting up across the country and saying, let's go someplace and let's demonstrate the power of these ideas. There's a lot of kind of philosophy that surrounds liberty. There's a lot of thinking about it and talking about it. But here in New Hampshire, people are doing it.
101 Reasons Liberty Lives in New Hampshire, a documentary by Free State Project Early Movers. Watch it free at 101reasonsfilm.com. 101reasonsfilm.com. If you want to know the latest about Free Talk Live before we go on the air, all you need to decide is how you want it delivered. It's your choice. Visit news.freetalklive.com to receive our usually weekly news updates by email. Plus, we have a Twitter account at twitter.freetalklive.com, and you can follow us on the decentralized Mastodon platform at toot.freetalklive.com. So please follow us at toot.freetalklive.com and sign up for our emails at news.freetalklive.com. Are you tired of governments murdering people around the world? Stop using their money. There is an alternative. Bitcoin is a stateless, free market, non-political currency. Bitcoin cannot be inflated or controlled by any government. By using their money, you're helping the state. Stop doing it. You have an incredible alternative available now. Learn it, use it, spread it. Get started with Bitcoin at bitcoin.com. That's bitcoin.com.
You're listening to the best liberty-oriented audio streamed around the clock, on the air, and online. This is the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
Hey, it's Free Talk Live. Live Saturday episode here. You can take control of the airwaves. Bring up whatever you want. Our number, 855-450-FREE like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. Tonight, it's Ian.
Mr. Microphone.
And Mark.
And do you want to reach people with the ideas of liberty? Do it from the back of your car with libertystickers.com. You can reach thousands of people with a bumper sticker, and you know people love to read them. So check out the vast selection of witty, poignant, pithy, and downright bombastic liberty-oriented messages at libertystickers.com. We're going to go back into your calls and thoughts. And coming up, the flight to nowhere. A real statement about where things are at in society and business today. We'll get into that coming up here in just a bit. Of course, your calls and thoughts are also welcome. And then on the way, free speech is under pretty serious attack right now. We were commenting earlier this week that at least in the United States, despite all the insanity, we still have the ability to speak relatively unrestricted. But that may be starting to change with this new ban on TikTok, which will explain that coming up as
the clock
well.
is tick-tocking down.
Indeed. But first, we go to your phone calls and thoughts. Dustin, starting things out here, listening in Kansas and Salina to KINA.
Yeah, my name's Dustin. I'll just leave it there. But I've got laws of land, effort, bone for bone, tooth for tooth, criminal rehab, no more confinement. But there's a corruption monitoring, eye for eye.
Was that a sentence? I'm sorry. I might have missed what you were trying to say there.
12 laws of land, 1 through 10, 10 commandments, 11, do not do, list
Yes,
of
this is
criminal
just a
court
bunch of words
charges,
being thrown together, correct?
And then number 12, corruption monitoring all.
You guys are just staring at me. I'm asking you, is this just a bunch of words being thrown together?
All right, Dustin,
commandment.
talk like normal people, or we're going to let you go.
Okay, bone for bone, tooth for tooth, laws of criminal rehab.
He's now saying the same things over and over again.
Probation that serves you, mate with mate, money monitoring, rich and poor, counseling, drugs to curb drug addicts.
Are you reading the notes that you wrote down?
Yeah, that's what it sounds like.
Wow. Okay, so if what he's asking for is some kind of criminal justice
Either that
reform,
or there was a code in there somewhere.
Yeah, like
and
he's
it was
reading
like
the 12 phrases for his crypto wallet.
Yeah,
or
it was like a secret message that we have to decode. There's like some really brilliant thing that he was saying in there.
Oh, I didn't get my decoder ring out of my Ovaltine.
I'm not even going to say thank you for the call on that one. That was
Why not?
Very strange.
Thank you for the call. We'll take strange calls.
Let's go to Robert. He's in Charleston, South Carolina.
Robert in Charleston, bone for bone.
Go ahead, listening to WTMA.
Okay. First of all, I wanted to ask about, you said that you could bring if you go on a flight, these flights have no service, you have to bring your own drink and that kind of a thing. And I thought to myself, the flight that I have been on, I haven't been on flights for a while, but the last time I was on, you weren't allowed to bring anything in a bottle. You just had, if you had something in your cosmetic case or something like that, it was okay. But a teensy-weensy little bit, you couldn't bring anything of any.
Right.
Yeah,
the rules haven't changed that you can't have more than like 3.4 ounces of a given liquid.
And you still got to keep them in a Ziploc bag or whatever.
Clear Ziploc bag.
No
By the
more
way,
than a gallon.
they don't do that. They never demand that.
I've never seen that. Yeah.
Right. I keep liquids in my bag all the time, and they never bother them because they know they're small enough and whatever. But what I was referring to is the expensive bottle of water that you buy after you go through
the $4 bottle of water.
The Blue Glove Love there at the gate, and then you can get the bottle. By the way, I got to say that to the supervisor at the security supervisor at the airport this last
Did he smile?
time.
Oh wait, you can't see his face.
No, he was a grumpy, pain in the butt.
Did you wink at him while you said it?
He didn't want to accept my driver's license.
Oh, because it was from the Marianas.
Yeah.
Well, also I wanted to ask about cash. A lot of times they ask you if you have any cash on you, how much you have with you. I didn't know that it was that illegal to bring cash. How much are you allowed to bring?
I think under 10,000, if I'm not mistaken.
I believe so. Yeah.
There was some debate about this in the Free Talk Live chat room the other day. I also believe that it's under 10,000. If it's over 10,000, you have to report it or something like that, and they'll probably take it because they think you're a drug dealer. But the person who was in there, I think it was eTours, said that only applies to international flights, and I don't know if that's true. I wouldn't take that as legal advice.
I don't know.
I see. There's another thing too. You have to be careful about bringing animals. Like a long time ago, I had my rabbit with me because we had a connecting flight, and I needed to get my rabbit home to Dresden, Germany, where we lived. And at that time, you could sneak a rabbit in if you were careful, because a rabbit is very good at hiding. But nowadays they can.
Wow, how long ago was this? Because
this was probably maybe almost 20 years ago, actually.
Okay.
Well, now all you have to do is say it's your emotional support animal.
That'll do it. Robert, thanks for the call tonight. I appreciate it.
This is my emotional support bar cart.
Let's talk to John in Dover, Delaware, listening to WDOV. Go ahead, John.
Oh, yes, I just wanted to let you know that I did break that code while I was on hold with my Enigma
Thank
machine.
goodness. Go ahead.
Yes. So. Anyhow,
you're not going to tell us? You're not going to tell us what you?
I didn't really break the code.
Oh, shoot.
I wish I hadn't.
I thought you found like national treasure or something.
That was a good call, man. Anyhow, I just wanted to say I seen a really cool bumper sticker today, and it read, "I sure do hope the Russians trick me into voting for Donald Trump again." Me too. What about you guys?
Well, I won't be voting for Donald Trump because I don't get to vote.
Wait a minute. What do you mean? Oh, because you're not in the Marianas.
I don't get to vote in the primaries or whatever because I'm an independent. In Delaware, you can't vote in the primaries.
That's interesting, Mark, because...
Is that what's going on with you or what?
No, I'm a resident of the U.S. Marianas, and it's a territory, not a state, and only states get to vote for electors, and electors vote for the president. So
you can vote in the local island elections, but you can't vote for president.
Like the U.S. Virgin Islands, kind of.
Right, or Washington, D.C., they don't get a vote for president either. So.
Yeah, because it's a district of Columbia, not an actual state. But they're trying to change all that. If you notice that the Democrats are working hard to make Puerto Rico a state, they're going to try and make D.C.
They've been pushing Puerto Rico for a long time, and there's a fair amount of pushback.
They're not going to change all the flags. They're not going to add another state. It's not going to happen.
I want to make one comment about Ginsburg.
All right, go ahead, quick.
Yeah, Ginsburg, they're about to take her dead corpse and parade it around the country for about 4 weeks, like they do with every Democrat dead corpse.
Are they really?
Somebody please set it on
you
fire.
know, what do they do it every time? They've done it since Trump's been president. Every Democrat that has died has got a presidential burial. It's gross, man.
They tour it around the country? Seriously?
Dead bodies. Yeah, man, they need to go ahead and get her in the ground, man. She's done.
Crazy.
She's over. Goodbye, Ruth.
Thank you, John, for your call tonight. I
That's
appreciate
interesting,
it.
Mark. I just wanted to say, so since you know, I don't vote for presidents and that kind of thing, so, but I might be convinced to vote for a price.
Well, that sounds illegal.
If you wanted to have your vote count, perhaps we could work out some sort of barter.
I wouldn't talk about that on the air.
I would never pay for a vote, but if I were to vote, what I would do is I would vote for Jo Jorgensen, the libertarian for
We're going to have
president.
her on, by the way. She's coming on, I believe, October 1st. I don't know.
I'm sure that's another night that I won't be on, right?
I don't know when you're leaving again to go to Florida. So
no, I mean, what night of the week is it?
Thursday, which you could actually be on. Oh, no, you couldn't because nobody's here. So you won't be able to be on that one.
See, I was on Thursdays. Now I'm not. And you just keep me off of the shows with
At the risk of being sort of the guy who works around the system, you could call in that day.
I could.
Yeah, that's true.
I tried to do some calling in while I was there, but it just, when you're...
You did one, I think.
Yeah, I did one call.
Okay.
I'd like to say this about the territories. So, yes, it's terrifying, the idea that Puerto Rico might be another Democrat territory. All you have to do is let in a Republican territory or create a Republican state. Here's two solutions. One, U.S. Marianas is a largely Republican place, so you could bring the Marianas on as a state and Puerto Rico's.
That's not good for them. Right?
I'm not saying it is good or bad. I'm talking about making a place a state and people being concerned about territories being brought in that are Democratic.
I would hope the Marianas people would vote against that, like the Puerto Ricans vote against it.
Secondly, the other thing you could do is split Oregon or cut off the top of California. These places are Republican voting, and you could have the new city, the new state of Jefferson. They want one out there.
They've been talking about that for a long time.
Yeah, you could do the same thing with the state of Washington. They've been talking about that too, separating Western Washington from
Eastern Washington.
Right.
And I think they're calling that one Franklin.
I think so. Yeah.
So there's different proposals out there, and there's nothing saying that Washington has to remain the size and shape that it is currently. It hasn't even been a state that long compared to, say, Rhode Island.
Washington State.
Yeah. I mean, it's the idea that these things are etched in our minds and cannot be changed is absolutely ludicrous.
They've changed a
You
myriad
can
of times.
serve people better with smaller geographic, entities.
Sure, but that's not what they're interested in.
No, they're not interested in service. They're interested in power.
855 450 free, and if you'd ever doubted that, this last 6 months should make it crystal clear that they're all
Keeping
about
it,
power,
growing it, and getting more of it for themselves whenever possible.
I know that you said you think it's going to get weaned back after November, Mark, but I don't think there's any evidence that that's true. I hope you're right, but I don't think there is any proof to that. 855 450 free. What is a flight to nowhere, and why did it sell out in 10 minutes?
Is nobody on that
comment?
flight?
You can join us here. This is Free Talk Live.
Remember when you first heard about Bitcoin? How long did it take you to realize this little project would soon change the world? Do you kind of wish you had gotten involved sooner? Well, now is your chance to be a part of the next revolution in money. Intercoin is working to finally make crypto go mainstream. It's designed to be scalable enough to support everyday payments and even elections without the state. Bitcoin was originally supposed to be a peer-to-peer cash system, the way we would all pay one another without having to trust any third party. But instead, over time, it mostly became a store of value. That's because every 10 minutes, the Bitcoin network must put all transactions into a block, and that block can only hold so much. If crypto is to become mainstream, for people to use it for everyday payments, we need a new architecture, one that is as secure as Bitcoin while being far more scalable. Check out intercoin.org to find out more and maybe pick up some of those coins for yourself.
So you've signed the Shire Society Declaration and are planning your move to New Hampshire to be around more liberty-oriented people. Next, sign up for the Shire Society Forum at forum.shiresociety.com. There are a bunch of people there who are already in the Shire, and they want to meet you. If you're already in the Shire physically, you should also come by the forums. Remember, not everyone uses Facebook. New people are signing up for the Shire Society Forum every month, so drop in and say hello at forum.shiresociety.com. The LRN.FM's social media channels have been revamped. We've eliminated Facebook and focused on other platforms like Twitter and Mastodon, the decentralized alternative to Twitter. On our accounts, you'll find posts from multiple LRN.FM show hosts together in one place. Follow us on Twitter at twitter.lrn.fm, or better yet, move to the decentralized Mastodon social media platform at toot.lrn.fm, toot.lrn.fm. I think you'll like it.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 2 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
Most likely a woman. I'm Joe Chiro, Fox News. That's what President Trump told reporters about his nominee to replace Supreme Court Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg, who died last night. And he said he expects to make the nomination next week.
When the choice is made, I'll be sending it over to Mitch in the Senate, and they will do what they have to do. I think we'll have a very popular choice, whoever it may be.
The president speaking before leaving the White House for his event tonight in Fayetteville, North Carolina. But whether there will be enough time to seat a justice before the election remains a question.
We're getting some hand signals that we think that Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell and certainly the president will hit the gas pedal to try to move this through as quickly as possible. Usually it takes about 40 days from the time that you actually send a nomination to Capitol Hill for the Supreme Court before they get a hearing, and then about 67 to 70 days before you get a vote on the Senate floor.
Fox's Chad Pergram. Democrats and some Republicans, including Maine Senator Susan Collins, are strongly against naming a replacement before the election. Democratic presidential nominee Joe Biden also urging Congress to hold off until after the election.
But that's different than what Biden thought in 2016 when he didn't agree with the Senate's call to hold off on a nomination hearing for Obama's nominee Merrick Garland, where he rejected what the Republicans call the Biden rule when then Senator Biden said in 1992 that he thought a Supreme Court vacancy should not be filled by a president in an election year.
Fox's Hillary Vaughn. President Trump also told reporters he's given his blessing to proposed deal between Oracle and Walmart for the U.S. operations of TikTok, the Chinese-owned app he's targeted for national security and data privacy concerns. Trump said the proposed deal will result in the creation of a company based in Texas under the control of Oracle and Walmart. America is listening to Fox News.
Adjusting to a new normal means we need to be smart about how we do business. Thousands of small business owners have discovered the benefits of Stamps.com and kept their businesses running while avoiding trips to the post office. With Stamps.com, you can print postage on demand and you'll never pay full price, with access to discounted rates you can't even get at the post office, like 5 cents off every stamp and up to 62% off USPS and UPS shipping rates. Don't waste time at the post office or UPS store. Print official stamps and labels right from your home or office computer for any letter, any package, anywhere you want to send. Once your mail's ready, just leave it for your mail carrier, schedule a free package pickup, or drop it off. It's a no-brainer. Right now, listeners get a special offer that includes a 4-week trial, plus free postage, and a digital scale with no long-term commitment. Just go to Stamps.com, click on the microphone at the top of the homepage, and type in Fox. That's Stamps.com. Enter Fox. Stamps.com. Enter Fox.
An investigation continues into a shooting in Rochester, New York overnight that killed 2 young adults and injured 14 other people. Acting Police Chief Mark Simmons.
For our community, who's right now going through so much, to have to be dealt with this tragedy needlessly, for people who decide to act in a violent manner, is unfortunate and is shameful. And we're going to do everything that we can as a department to bring those people involved to justice.
The city has been witnessing violent unrest following the release of police videos showing the fatal detention of Daniel Prude. The head of the FBI questioned by House lawmakers this week about Antifa groups.
Testifying before the House Homeland Security Committee, FBI Director Christopher Wray described the far-left Antifa as an ideology or a movement.
We have any number of properly predicated investigations into what we would describe as violent anarchist extremists, and some of those individuals self-identify.
If you're looking for work, you know the math. There are many more applicants than openings, so you need to stand out, not blend into the blah, blah, blah your interviewer is hearing from your competition. Here's a tip. In your interview, you will be judged more by the questions you ask than the answers you give. Yes, do anticipate the obvious job interview questions and prepare concise, insightful, glass-half-full sounding responses. And you should interview your interviewer. Seem genuinely curious about what will help get results. With money and attention so scarce now, effective communication skills have never been more important. You want to cut through the clutter. For more tips for job seekers and making all the other conversations you have more productive, hit survivalspeech.com. I'm Holland Cook.
Today's most popular video games take place in dangerous post-apocalyptic landscapes. But are these games doing enough to prepare our kids for the actual post-apocalyptic future we will all soon face?
Well, I think these games are quite effective at teaching our kids skills like finding shotgun ammo and leading elite squads of super soldiers.
But these aren't the advanced skills that they're going to need. They're going to need the more practical skills like how to find drinking water by collecting the morning dew in human skulls.
Or how to deal with depression when the sun is blocked out for 500 years by a cloud of radioactive dust.
Absolutely. Now, that's the type of knowledge these kids are going to need when their world has been turned into a brutal hellscape.
But these kids said that they know how to find items to barter at weapon shops and how to use medicine packs to heal zombie bites.
The games make it all seem deceptively simple. I mean, in the future, a kid's not going to be able to kill a 6-foot-long irradiated beetle just by pressing a few buttons. And he's going to have to get down there with an axe and hack and hack and hack.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
It's Free Talk Live, the live Saturday episode of the show. With you in the studio tonight, you've got Ian,
the captain,
and Mark.
Coming up tonight, I would say there's a pretty big attack coming on freedom of speech starting tomorrow with the United States planning to ban TikTok. And another app called WeChat from the United States.
No, that's not an app for little people.
We'll tell you about it. I actually don't know what that is, but we'll get into it coming up here. I know what TikTok is. 855-450 free allows you to join us here. But we were talking about, Mark, you just got back from a trip to Florida. You took some airline flights on your way back. And it was your first time doing that in many months, and so it was your first time on all this mandatory mask stuff where there's mandatory masks in the airports, mandatory masks in the airlines. You can get out of it if you have a drink in your hand, apparently, but at certain points, they're probably going to have you put the drink down, like when you're walking through the line with your ticket, and then they're gonna enforce this stuff. You said they announced it multiple times while you were on the flight. And we've, of course, seen news stories from the United States and Canada with families being kicked off of flights because they've got a 3-year-old child and the child is having a tantrum or whatever and surprisingly doesn't want to have a mask put over its mouth.
Go figure.
Dogs don't like being muzzled. And so the child didn't want to put a mask on. They kicked the whole family off. And in the case of I forget what the flight brand was, but it's a Canadian airline, they just canceled the entire flight. They turned right back around, went to the gate, and told everybody to get off the flight.
I mean, isn't that surprising to you?
Come back tomorrow.
That so many people are just like willing to be muzzled like that.
That's what's been the most disappointing part about all this. I mean, not only that people have been willing to be locked down, that was the first part that was the worst, and then they've taken it to a new level where now you have to put masks on according to all these governments all over the United States. Now, not every state is doing this. I don't know how many states have the mandatory masks and how many don't, but it's a bunch of them that do.
I think over 30 was the last thing I read. Yeah.
Wow. And by the way, New Hampshire not doing so hot on the list of states with the fewest corona restrictions.
Right.
New Hampshire's at number 29 on that list, so not even in the top 50%.
Fair to middling.
Pretty
if that.
Embarrassing. So if you want to comment here, you can. Our toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. But, Mark, you mentioned that the flight that you were on, or the flights that you were on, relatively unpopulated. There were, maybe not even more than 50%. Now, that may even be a rule that the airlines can't do more than 50%. I don't know. I haven't been following closely what the arbitrary diktats have been that the FAA or, federal government has handed down to these airlines. But Qantas Airlines, which is an Australian airline, according to FoxNews.com, they decided they were going to offer something new to their customers. Given that there's tremendous travel restrictions in general, you don't have a whole lot of people who are traveling just because there's no business to go. There's no convention. You have nowhere to go for your business.
Right. I mean, I can't tell you how many conventions I've had canceled this year.
All of them.
Yeah.
All of them have been canceled. All the cruises have been canceled.
Yeah.
So vacations in general. I was breezing across some articles on tourism the other day, and tourism is down across the globe, obviously.
Yeah. You can't travel internationally in a lot of places. If you've got a U.S. passport, you're just not allowed to go to a bunch of countries, from what I understand. It used to be the U.S. passport would get you into a bunch of countries.
Well, and think about all these places where tourism is their number one, money draw.
Right. Like in so many places in the globe, that's true.
Yeah. It's over. And so Qantas, they need some revenue, right? Like every airline company needs to get some tickets sold. And so they now have a 7-hour scenic flight to nowhere, which will take off and land at the same airport amid interstate travel restrictions. During the coronavirus pandemic.
Why?
It's like when your dad first taught you how to drive or whatever, and you just cruised around the block 18 times.
Well, are you really confused as to why?
You had a dad? No. Yes, I am confused as to why anyone would do that.
Well, people are bored, number one. They want something to do. And they can't go anywhere. And if they're huge,
filled a plane
if they're huge
with these people.
If they're huge flight fanatics, then this is something to do.
Well, no, I mean, I can understand this from a different perspective, right? People were locked down if they aren't still, depending on where you live. That could definitely be true. Entertainment is dead. Right? Unless you're going to one of these drive-in concerts like we went to.
Which we didn't go to a concert, and I wouldn't go to a concert like that. But it was fine with a stand-up comic. Concert would be terrible.
Outside of these attempts to get around the restrictions and still have all of your live entertainment is done.
Yeah.
Right? There's no concerts, there's no stand-up comedy, there's no theater of any kind, right? As far as live, no Broadway, nothing like that is going on. So people have, they're getting stir crazy, right? Cabin fever, if you will.
Yep.
So they want to go
get
and
in another cabin.
Something.
Get in an airline cabin and fly around.
I mean, it's
7
a
hours.
Fake form of relief is what it is.
7 hours.
It's a placebo at best.
The unusual flight. By the way, it's sold out in 10 minutes flat, according to Qantas Airlines.
People really wanted to go nowhere.
The unusual flight is scheduled to depart Sydney October 10th and return on the same day, making absolutely no stops while promising passengers low-level scenic views over Uluru and the Great Barrier Reef, among other spots. Buyers quickly snatched up the 134 available seats, priced between $575 for the low end and $2,765 for first class.
Now, these are these fake satanic Australian dollars that we're talking about. But
it's Fox News article, so I'm going to presume that they've done the conversion, but maybe they haven't.
All right. I just flew from Sarasota, Florida to Hartford, and you could get a ticket for, I think it was $179.
Okay. Well, I don't know if that necessarily means that things are
That's interesting. I wonder how many people who boarded this flight and took this flight or these flights had parents who were like, "You're never going to go anywhere." And now they didn't.
This actually hasn't happened yet. It's coming up October 10th. According to Qantas spokesperson, speaking of Reuters, passengers are set to travel on a wide-body Boeing 787 used for long-distance international travel. So they're really spreading people out here. 134 seats. I'm guessing these are only the window seats that they're selling, perhaps, because why would you want like if you're gonna buy a flight to nowhere, the point would be to look out the window, right?
They did mention scenic flight, right?
Right? Like, you're not buying a flight to nowhere so you can use their awesome Wi-Fi on the airline, because the airline Wi-Fi's kind of suck. Yeah. You can't upload anything. So you're not going to be there to get work done. You're not going to pay $575 to go and get your emails checked at 10,000 or 30,000 feet.
So I know that there's a certain set of laws that do or don't apply depending on whether you're in international waters. And this is where we get like seasteading and those concepts from. Is there also that same lack of rules for flights if you're also in international air? And I'm saying this because a flight to nowhere could be a good idea if it was a club inside with concerts, and drinking,
gambling. Tear some of the seats out. This is like a massive 787, right? So you're talking about where
that's a big plane,
right?
Yeah.
They've got the middle row of seats. So you got the left row, the right row.
I don't know that a 787 is that big. I think
it's big. That's why it's 787.
It's a wide body, that's for sure.
Yeah, I'm looking at a map of.
They don't just get bigger with the numbers.
This is for international flights. It said, Mark. That is a big
Dreamliner.
airplane.
Yeah.
Yeah, I believe this is what we took, or something very similar to it.
Yeah,
to
you're right. That is
Japan.
So basically, there's the 737, which is what Southwest tends to fly, or the 757. But you repeat yourself. The 737, the 757 are basically the same plane. The 747, the 777, and the 787 look about the same plane too.
So I'm looking here at the Boeing 787 Dreamliner, and it has what appears to be 60 rows. So that would be 120 window seats, and they are selling 134 seats. So there's like 14 people who are going to have to be craning their neck over whoever happens to be sitting near the window, because why else would you go on a flight?
Is there 2 levels with windows?
I don't believe there are 2 levels on this plane. It's just one row.
Yeah, I would think that there might be something right now. Now, I'm not saying go ongoing wise, but there might be something for a casino in the air. But I mean, people want to smoke when they're on a casino. They tend to want to smoke. So I don't know if that's going to be
vape pens.
It's probably the FAA doesn't allow
vape. Yeah,
but then again, I don't know what the Australian rules are, and they're probably worse. 855-450 free. That's the number here. Would you take a flight?
Hookahs in the sky.
Would you take a flight to nowhere? What if you made it a private flight? Then you could have a hookah on it, right? Like if it was a privately chartered.
I can't see why not.
Thing. 855.
This is not legal advice.
855-450-3733. The pilot probably wouldn't appreciate it.
It's fun advice.
More coming up. It is Free Talk Live.
Divvy's been a pretty good investment for Free Talk Live. Their ad campaign started in September 2019, and from mid-March to mid-July, the values soared by 10 times. It's not too late. Divvy's new wallet hasn't even released yet, and other things are happening that I can't even say on the radio. If you want to invest and potentially do well, go to divvyproject.org. I can tell you that FTL is deepening its partnership with the guys from divvyproject.org. Past performance is not an indication of future profit. divvyproject.org. DIVI project.org.
News from news.bitcoin.com. Despite years of warnings about cryptocurrency, criminals prefer U.S. dollars for money laundering, study shows. Jim Rogers predicts end of U.S. dollar dominance. Macro strategist Raul Paul says Bitcoin beats gold in every way. New crypto, sushi, plummets around rumors of exit scam. Bitcoin.com is your source for getting started with cryptocurrencies, getting a wallet, buying Bitcoin Cash, mining, and all the latest cryptocurrency news at news.bitcoin.com.
Join liberty-minded voluntarists, anarchists, and libertarians from June 28th through July 4th for ForkFest 2021 at Rogers Campground in the beautiful White Mountains of New Hampshire. ForkFest happens the week after the Porcupine Freedom Festival, and ForkFest is decentralized, which means no one is in charge. That also means there's no ticket cost. Just reserve your camping, RV site, or motel room with Rogers Campground for June 28th through July 4th. Where better to celebrate Independence Day than around other freedom-loving activists in the Shire? You can relax and enjoy the camaraderie of like-minded people, or you can create whatever experience or event you'd like others to have. If you're planning an event for ForkFest, be sure to let others know in advance. You can connect with fellow ForkFesters via the unofficial Telegram chat or the ForkFest forum. Links to those are on the unofficial website, forkfest.party. Mark your calendar for June 28th through July 4th, 2021. We'll see you at forkfest.party.
Free Talk Live.
When there are cameras around, it doesn't make a difference. There were people with video cameras all over this event yesterday.
And it looked like these people were trying to get away,
Yes,
honestly.
they were. Yes, they were. They were being
these weren't
shot.
people rushing towards the cop phalanx.
Nope.
That's right.
They were trying to get away.
And those batons weren't rubber like the bullets were.
They were either trying to get away or they were members of the news media trying to cover the event.
Right.
Police are supposed to be there to protect and serve.
Allegedly.
Allegedly, to be peace officers. And instead, they're creating war.
And, of course, the chief of police is claiming he'll investigate. What they're going to investigate, I don't know. It's going to be very difficult to identify the officers in this video footage because there were so many of them.
Mm-hmm.
There was an army of police officers out there, and every single one of them was participating in the attack on unarmed, innocent people.
Free Talk Live, 7 nights a week from 7 to 10 Eastern, live on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
There are lots of ways to listen to Free Talk Live. Our podcast has been around since podcasts began, and now the FTL feed is loaded with content besides our full show archives. Did you know that we make it easy for you to customize your podcast subscriptions? We have different feeds, one that includes only our full shows, one with just the Daily Digest, and our main feed that includes everything. You decide what you listen to. It's quick and easy to customize your feeds at feeds.freetalklive.com. That's feeds.freetalklive.com. The new 4th edition of Healing Our World, The Compassion of Libertarianism, will take your understanding of liberty to a deeper level and has over 1,300 updated references, new cartoons, and a foreword by Dr. Ron Paul. With discounts for multiple book purchases, the 4th edition of Healing Our World is a great gift for the liberals, pragmatists, environmentalists, and Christians in your life who think libertarianism is cold-hearted. Get yours today at healing.freetalklive.com and use promo code FTL for a $5 discount.
Do you love Twitter? Make sure you favorite the LRN.FM Twitter account so you can receive our tweets at twitter.lrn.fm. That's twitter.lrn.fm.
Yep, it's Free Talk Live, the live Saturday show. You are, as always, invited to join us here. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE like freedom. It's a show brought to you by Bitcoin.com, longtime sponsors here on Free Talk Live, and a site just packed full of useful information. Whether you're brand new to Bitcoin or you want to just get started and learn the basics over there, well, click on Get Started over on Bitcoin.com, and there's a easy-to-watch 2-3 minute long video that'll give you the basics. If you feel like digging deeper, you can. There's several more videos as well teaching you the basics about Bitcoin, Bitcoin Cash, and cryptocurrency in general over at Bitcoin.com. Maybe you're not so new and you want to get the latest news headlines. They've got that there as well, news.bitcoin.com. That's news.bitcoin.com. Coming up, the ban on TikTok. What is it? Well, if you've got kids, you've probably heard it's probably one of the most popular apps out there for young people.
Yeah, I don't know what TikTok is. I don't know what WeChat is either, and no, it's not an app for leprechauns.
We'll get into that coming up. Oh, it's a WeChat then.
It's a WeChat.
Let's talk to Carlos first, though. He's in Denver, Colorado, watching us on our Twitch feed over at twitch.lrn.fm. Hey, Carlos.
What's up, guys? How you doing?
What's on your mind tonight?
I don't like calling in this way. By the way, I miss Discord. But moving on, I really I have a problem with the mask wearing that is well, not the mask wearing, but the snitching that's happening now. Mm-hmm. Now that we're getting into months of wearing masks, you're seeing businesses get snitched on by customers or door dashers or whoever's coming in the store when they see a employee who may forgot to put his mask back up. Yep. And they're trying to get these companies banned, especially if they're clearly a conservative company that doesn't really like the masks to begin with. So that's a new problem that I'm seeing out there. But Donald Trump is going to get the presidency. Just accept it. Everybody out there that's a libtard that hates it.
What makes you think that that's so? I mean, it seems like there's a lot of. I mean, I'm looking at Politico.com yesterday, and I'm looking at polls, and it seems like Biden tends to be the guy they're mentioning in these polls.
That was the same thing that happened before 2016.
I understand that.
I agree.
I mean, that doesn't.
And so
That's not an
what's going
indication
on
that
here-
Trump wins.
If you look at the most the most accurate polls that were accurate last election cycle, those people are now calling it for Trump or a very close race. But either way, I feel like our electoral college is going to do the right thing in the states where they have the power to do so, and they're not going to vote for a geriatric pedo for president. So
which one?
That's a good point. But no, Donald Trump has kicked pedos out of his clubs and called those people out in public. So he's not like those people. I don't like him, but he's not like those people.
Well, I don't know if I believe that for a moment. I mean, all these elitists in Washington, D.C., they're basically all on the same team, and any kind of infighting between them is just to keep people separated and keep them fighting one another and believing that there's some significant difference between these two political parties. So I'm just not excited at all about either one of those two people becoming president. I don't think we can secede fast enough from this sinking ship, and that is something that I think all libertarian and freedom-minded people and even non-freedom-minded people need to be starting to think about. Is the folks out there on the West Coast in California, Calexit, as they call it, the California exit from the United States, they need to start taking that up to the next level, and I know that they are working on a ballot initiative to get people to vote on that there. They need like 600,000 signatures for that, but they're kicking off that signature drive, and hopefully we'll see some sort of action
One
here.
of the only positive things coming out of California
Absolutely.
recently.
And I hope that they're successful with it. Carlos, thanks for sharing your thoughts with us tonight. Appreciate it.
Hey, Aria for sheriff.
All right, very good. Let's talk to Terry in Ocean Shores, Washington, listening to KBKW. Go ahead, Terry.
Hey, yeah, you guys were talking about how we know Trump's going to win this deal, this election. Not only is it the same as what happened in 2016, but I've got a theory.
Okay.
Republicans and conservatives, when pollsters call, are actually at work. So they don't have time. And when a pollster calls me, I bald-face lie.
Really? Why do you lie to the pollster?
Well, one, to throw them off, Okay. Let them think what they're going to think. You can tell when a pollster calls the direction that they want you to answer.
Mm-hmm.
So I will bald-faced, lie to them. Oh yeah, I'm all for Biden-Harris. Oh yeah, I'm all for Governor Inslee.
Interesting.
Oh yeah, I'm just to give them that kind of false sense of security. And then when the election happens, boom. I did not mind at all watching all those snowflakes melt when Trump got elected in 2016.
That was pretty entertaining.
I went to sleep. Here's another thing I would say regarding all of it is that if we have the blind ballot, secret polling like we do in normal elections this go around, and let's hope we do, I think that there are a large number of people out there, and I think most of them are men, that are going to vote for Trump if as long as their wives don't know they did it. And, yeah, honey, whatever, I get you're passionate about this, that your particular crooked old pervert or whatever it is, and I'll vote for your crooked old pervert. But when they get into the ballot box, then they're going to, change their mind or whatever. Because the fact is that the vast majority of people, whether they're voting for Biden or Trump, don't have any business voting at all. I mean, if you can't tell me 3 of the 5 things that are mentioned in the First Amendment of the Constitution, or who the sitting vice president is, or a variety of other relatively easy questions to answer, you just don't have any business voting.
I would agree with that in general, but people have the right to vote.
Right.
I would hope that they would be informed. I would hope that they actually.
Right. Well, I've got decades of information for you that says that they're not.
Well, we don't need decades.
Giving every mouth-breathing dullard a vote is a bad idea.
Yeah, we don't need decades, Mark. We have a recent example where our very co-host, Aria DiMezzo, managed to get nominated as the Republican candidate for sheriff, even though she's a transgender satanic or Satanist anarchist. And so 4,000 Republican voters in this county cast the vote for her. I presume most of those 4,000 had no idea for whom they were
just
voting.
because there was the letter R next to her name.
Yeah. Now, she didn't have any competition per se on the ballot, but there was a write-in campaign.
Why in the world would you vote for somebody who has no competition? It's not like there's any chance of them losing. Just don't vote. This is the thing is that we tell people, and we've told them for their lives, you should vote. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm here to tell you, you should not vote. Like, you shouldn't. You should be, if you are voting, you should be thoroughly informed, because this is an important civic role. And the idea that a satanic, atheist, anarchist, whatever, just won sheriff, the nominee for sheriff for the Republican Party in New Hampshire, is all the evidence you need that you shouldn't be voting.
And in fact, she came out and said, hey, people voted for me. If they weren't informed, that's their problem, not mine.
Yep.
To make a point. So yeah, I agree with you. Being informed is key. So now, how do we get out there and how do we actually give these people information without getting the blowback that you do as a conservative or a libertarian or anything else? You can't approach these people with a differing opinion.
I have no idea, Terry. Thank you for the call tonight.
How
I
do
do
you fix
appreciate
a
it.
system that's intended to be broken?
Yeah, you have to just let it break and forget about it and move on, and this whole thing's
a horrible
failure.
system. Let it go.
Yep. 855-450 free. We don't need any more systems. We just need freedom. It's Free Talk Live.
Did you know you can support freedom of speech just by visiting shop.freetalklive.com? You'll see links to Walmart, Love Java, Newegg, and more. Every day, Free Talk Live is at the forefront of the liberty movement as the biggest liberty-oriented talk show in the world, giving you a platform to be heard on any topic. Get listener-only specials without doing anything other than an extra click. Visit shop.freetalklive.com. Use the links and buy what you'd be buying anyway. Take action now. Save and support freedom. Visit shop.freetalklive.com. It's shop.freetalklive.com.
Every year, over 1 million fires burn in America. Fortunately, firefighters are on the job, saving life and property, and you can be a part of it. 7 out of 10 firefighters and emergency responders are volunteers. There's no typical firefighter. Anyone can volunteer to serve their community. Volunteering as a first responder is really about having the heart and drive to make a difference where it's needed most. Your community needs you. Are you ready to answer the call? Learn more and find local volunteer opportunities at makemeafirefighter.org.
Is spreading the message of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace around the globe worth $2 per month to you? As you may already know, in addition to our internet feed, LRN.FM broadcasts on free-to-air satellite across North and Central America, as well as Sub-Saharan Africa. And we've been available on satellite for free 24/7 since 2010. The LRN.FM free-to-air satellite signal is reaching some of the most oppressive regimes in the world, and there's no doubt our ideas are making an impact. You can learn more about the channel's impact by watching the 3-minute video at fund.lrn.fm. If you'd like to help free minds globally with our ideas of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace, you can donate as little as $2 per month via fund.lrn.fm. You can help us continue and expand our satellite broadcast to multiple continents. Visit fund.lrn.fm today, and thank you for your help. Don't forget to share the link on social media. That's fund.lrn.fm.
Cell 411 is a free app for Android and iOS that replaces government-controlled 911. Cell 411 allows you to preset a group of friends or private organizations to show up at any emergency. Cell 411 is a nightmare for the state because it proves their so-called services aren't needed. Cell 411 has had thousands of installs, and of course it's covered by the BIPCOT no government license. Cell 411 because your friends won't shoot you when you're in trouble. Without the government, who would build the emergency services? You and Cell 411. Get it today at getcell411.com.
What if you want to hear the latest episode of Free Talk Live, but all you have is your phone, you forgot to download our archive, and you have no data connection? You can call our Listen line at 641-793-0191. That's a long-distance number, so you may incur charges. If not, listen as long as you want. 641-793-0191. The Free Talk Live Listen line, 641-793-0191.
I've been told no in many different ways.
I give you an order and you're going to obey it.
George, you can go this way. You can't do that and you have to leave here.
You cannot bring signs into the rally.
Walk with me. Well, I'm comfortable here, actually. Hey, who do you think you are? Excuse me.
There is no video and audio allowed in this office.
No, I have work today. This is...
You ain't gonna make it.
Wait a minute.
Hey! Oh my God! Unbelievable!
Why are you running from me? Because you scared me. What am I being detained for?
You're being served.
What is this?
You're being served.
What is this? Bureaucrats have a funny way of telling people no.
That's the sound of the men working on the chain.
Derek J's Victimless Crime Spree. Watch it for free and order the Director's Cut DVD at victimlesscrimespree.com.
You can put the Liberty Radio Network on the air in your area. Visit broadcast.lrn.fm to learn how. Broadcast.lrn.fm.
Free Talk live Saturday show. You can dial in. Just call toll free at 855-450-FREE like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. And Intercoin's team spent the last decade helping communities release apps to unite their members and coordinate social activity. Now communities can release currencies to coordinate economic activity. They represent a soft but voluntary power, encouraging people to spend their currency on local goods and services that accept it, or to support the community with small fees when cashing out unused coins. Towns already do this to battle globalism, and festivals can create an extended online community that transacts on their own year-round. Intercoin is attempting to regain some of our freedoms that are threatened on the internet and in meat space, and we think that's important here on Free Talk Live, so we accepted $40,000 worth of Intercoin tokens from Intercoin Incorporated for advertising. If you think freedom is important too, check out Intercoin at intercoin.org. You can invest in this project and potentially make big gains or just be involved and perhaps shape its future. Intercoin.org. So again, our toll-free line is 855-450-FREE like freedom. I'm pretty concerned here about the status of freedom of speech in the United States, and there's two things that are on my mind specifically about this. One, I saw these headlines, and Donald Trump was teasing about this a month or two ago, about banning apps, specifically the TikTok social media video sharing app, and apparently another one by the same company called WeChat. And I didn't remember off the top of my head what that was, but I actually had an account
It's
there.
the Chinese government's
Chinese
spy platform. Yeah.
Well, yeah, and whether it's doing spying or not, maybe that is true, maybe it's not. I don't know.
Of course you don't know, but I'm going to go ahead and say I'm going to err on the side of yes, WeChat is a spy app.
Okay, well, let's just say that
it's a Chinese government app.
Well, the government's involved in a lot of stuff,
and that is how they administer their social credit, which is it is spying. Yeah. So the idea that somehow the Chinese government might spy and try to socially engineer its own citizens while not spying and socially engineering on our citizens sounds like a breathtaking amount of Pollyanna.
There's no such thing.
You know what that is? That's a dodge.
Well, no, it's just a lie. I'm just trying to make clear for our listeners that citizen
we can
no
go
such
ahead
thing.
and you can go ahead and say what a citizen is and make your little point.
And
but you do
before,
understand that it is that you are dodging the point of the statement.
No, I'm not. Not
yes,
at all.
You are.
I'm just pointing out that you shouldn't be using a term that doesn't actually exist, and you know better than that. So the people, we've got people here in this arbitrary landmass, but citizen is a person who owes a duty of allegiance in return for an obligation of protection, and the state has no obligation to protect. They've ruled that over and over again in a myriad of Supreme Court decisions, so therefore there is no citizen. But regardless, let's look at the issue.
Allow me to restate then, if I may. Instead of being interrupted and letting you go on.
Well, you said it was a spy app. Okay, that's what you want me to address.
If China is going to spy on its serfs, you can believe it will spy on ours.
Absolutely.
And so,
but you should have the choice to install a spy app if you want to.
You perhaps
do Chinese people have a freedom of speech?
I think they do. Yes.
Okay. Well, then in that case, they should be able to.
But their government doesn't give it to them.
It's not what we're talking about here. We understand the Chinese government is bad, okay? All governments are bad. Sure. That's what they are. They're evil, organizations that are designed to control others with the threat of violence and with actual violence. We know the Chinese government's currently putting the Uyghurs in re-education camps, and they would do the
harvesting their organs, etc.
And they would do the same thing to you if they had the opportunity. And we know the United States government is putting its people in behind bars, the people who have never harmed another hair on another human being's head, like Ross Ulbricht, they would love to do to Edward Snowden, but they don't have their hands on him. They would love to do to Julian Assange, and they're trying to get their hands on him, and countless other hundreds of thousands, if not millions, of individuals who are behind bars in this country who are toiling away as state slaves. So there's no doubt that both of these governments are evil, but it's not what I'm talking about here. I'm talking about the freedom to speak, and the freedom to speak includes the freedom to program. You understand why that is?
Well, if the state, being China, programmed something, does the state, China, have the right to free speech?
Well, people wrote that code.
Sure.
And the company
people
in this particular
working
case,
for an evil organization, as you said.
The company in this case is called Tencent. And
here's my take on it. One, the United States government is jealous because they don't have such an awesome spy app to release to China that China's going to frickin' download so we can spy on the Chinese citizens. Two, I look at this, banning this, it's the same thing as burning books, right? If Donald Trump and the United States government said, hey, we don't like this book that's been published because it's been written by a government employee of China, we're going to burn them all. I look at this as the same exact thing as that.
Well, let me give you another take on it. Donald Trump is the chief intelligence officer for all branches. We're going to use a different term? Chief spy officer? What terminology do you want to use? I don't care.
What are you trying to describe?
Donald Trump is the chief intelligence officer.
I agree, that's his title, yes.
For each of his for each of the DIA, the CIA, the NSA, all these organizations, right? He's the guy who appoints the guy who's in charge, the person who appoints the person. Therefore, it is his job to make sure that spying doesn't go on in the United States. And he is doing his best to do that job. And I would say that job is more legitimate.
Are you actually defending this? The ban of this app?
I do not have a problem with the banning of this app.
Really?
Do you think the United States is spying on its own people?
Yes.
Okay, so then he's doing a horrible job at preventing spying.
Well, that's not what he's going to do. Expect evil government agencies to act like evil government agencies. However, when you can use one government to protect you from another government, go ahead and do that.
I'm going to beat your government with another government.
Well,
okay. So what you're saying is you would support book bans? So like banning
books and
written
apps aren't the same thing. You're aware of that, right?
Okay, but
an
it
app
could be
will tell you what will send back to the owner the stuff that you type into your phone.
And you understand that when you install it.
I understand.
Okay.
Look,
now maybe they're not telling you the whole truth about all the information.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Chinese government and the United States government are not telling you the whole truth.
Okay, maybe not. But the word had come out about the app in this particular case, which is called TikTok. Word had come out that this was run by, whatever people it was run by. Again, I'm not sure how involved the Chinese government is.
The people who are using
se.
this app aren't terribly interested in mainstream news and what apps are Chinese spy apps.
Okay, so because some people are ignorant of what's
going on.
They're
12-year-olds watching dance videos.
Okay, so because some people are ignorant of what's going on with the software that they install on their phone, you think the government should step in and decide for them?
That wasn't the statement. The statement.
Well, I'm trying to understand what you're saying here because it sounded like you support the ban. You did say you support this ban, right? Because they're banning this app from Google and Apple app stores. That's the part of the story I didn't get to yet, but that's what they're doing starting tomorrow. You support that?
I think that in weighing it in my mind and looking the advantages and disadvantages of doing it, and being relatively ignorant of what is actually happening with this app and only being sort of operating from the fear of what could be happening with these apps, specifically WeChat, I would say, yes, I think it's fine. I'm sitting as
stunned.
an arbiter over it.
As somebody who relies on freedom of speech for what you do.
I do not want freedom of speech for spying evil organization with
then it's over. It's over. Freedom of speech is over.
Camps.
It's over. freedom of speech is over.
That harvest innocent people's organs.
I'm sorry.
What's wrong
You're not
with
scaring
you?
me. You're not scaring me. If you don't support freedom of speech on every single issue, every single time, whether it be the Nazis parading down the street in Skokie, Illinois, which is an ugly thing, but they should have the right to do it because of freedom of speech.
I hate Illinois Nazis.
We want to protect speech, especially the ugly stuff, because that's how you protect the freedom of expression. And the fact that you're using this fear-mongering to make an excuse for banning an app, which is writing. This is somebody who wrote code down onto a computer, and then they compiled it into a program, and they uploaded it to these app stores. Now, if the app stores, given that they are private property, would like to voluntarily choose to say,
the app stores can't make that decision because they're perverted by the state, in this case, China. Now, let me address what you said. Okay.
No, you explain that statement, please.
Okay, we are taking the premise that the Chinese government is thoroughly involved with, at the very least, WeChat and likely TikTok. Okay? And Google can either leave China or play to China's fiddle, but it can't kind of run the middle. And that's just the way it goes. So Google benefits from this ban, to my mind.
Toll-free number tonight, 855-450-FREE. Mark's throwing freedom of speech in the trash bin here. You can share your thoughts.
That.
This is Free Talk Live.
The battle of late-stage or terminal illness is a fight that affects everything and everyone in your life. If you or a loved one are dealing with advanced stage conditions that are causing financial hardship, like stage 3 or stage 4 cancer, Alzheimer's, COPD, or ALS, then this message is for you. Our Funds for Living program make it a simple 3-step process. Text the word LIVE to 411-411 or visit fifthseasonfinancial.com/radio and we'll send you a link to get started. Choose the amount of money you need, apply in seconds. That's it, and you're under no obligation. Fifth Season will advance a portion of your life insurance policy and take over your premium payments so you can provide immediate financial relief to the ones you love, all without any out-of-pocket expenses. Fifth Season Financial wants to help you live your best life. Text LIVE to 411-411. Text the word LIVE to 411-411.
Are you ready for what's next? It's likely coming. More food shortages, power outages, grocery stores closed, social unrest. Ask yourself, do you have enough food and supplies on hand to last at least 30 days? Most Americans do not, but you can. Avoid the panic of the last-minute rush. Order your 4-week supply of emergency food today from mypatriotsupply.com. Starvation or dependency on the government are your only alternatives. Avoid those and the pain of being unprepared. Go to mypatriotsupply.com right now. Build your emergency food supply with meals that last up to 25 years in storage, shipped discreetly to your door. Folks that know what's coming are using today to prepare. There's time for you to do the same. That's mypatriotsupply.com, the original Patriot Preparedness Company. mypatriotsupply.com.
On Free Talk Live, we're bringing people to the ideas of liberty every day. From wrestling superstars like Glenn Jacobs.
You guys really are having an impact, I believe. Like I said, a lot of where I am now is due to listening to Free Talk Live. You changed my mind on some very important issues years ago.
To random people tuning in on the radio.
I was kind of stuck in the left-right paradigm. I heard your show by chance on a Saturday night. From there, I went on, joined the Free State Project, and become an amplifier. So, I mean, that's really the reason why I amp is because I know that if it wasn't for you guys being on as many stations as you are, I never would have found the ideas of liberty.
Your amp will directly change more lives by getting Free Talk Live in front of people looking for talk radio online and on the air. When you amp Free Talk Live, you get perks like access to the AMP-only Facebook group and AMP podcast. Visit amp.freetalklive.com. Some of you asked, and now we've delivered. LRN.FM's live Keene, New Hampshire studio shows are now streamed in HD on Twitch. Visit our channel at twitch.lrn.fm and give it a follow. If you have Amazon Prime, you get 1 free subscription on Twitch. If you use it on our channel, Twitch will give LRN.FM a monthly piece of your Prime subscription cost. So please watch, follow, share, and subscribe to twitch.lrn.fm. That's twitch.lrn.fm. Are you a cryptocurrency advocate? The Crypto Tip is the ideal outreach tool to help new people discover cryptocurrency. It's a printable business card-sized tip that you can give to service providers, preferably in addition to a good cash tip. When the server scans the QR code, it'll bring up an explanation of cryptocurrency, how to install a wallet, and allow them to claim the tip. If they don't claim the crypto, you get your tip refunded to you after a time period you specify. Plus, if they do claim the tip, you get an email alert. Create as many tips as you want at cryptotip.org. That's cryptotip.org.
Help get LRN.FM into more ears. Visit promote.lrn.fm for a free bumper sticker, flyers, banners, graphics, and more. Promote.lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live. You can bring up anything you want here. Is it okay to ban some apps just because they're involved allegedly with the Chinese government?
Let's take a look at history and find out how many times banning things worked.
Well, that is a good point here, Captain, that the ban on TikTok and WeChat apps that supposedly will be going into place tomorrow will not affect those who have already installed the app, which is, of course, millions and millions of individuals in the United States and beyond. I don't know what their current installed base is, but TikTok is one of the most popular social media apps amongst young people out there, hands down. So it's not going to result in the app uninstalling itself magically from these phones. It will just simply mean that the users of said app will no longer get updates to their app, which actually may put them in danger from other attacks and that sort of thing.
So as a guy who's worked in tech, when you ban something like this, it kind of has the same effect as Facebook shutting down your account because you didn't use your authentic name. Right? Here's what's going to happen. They're just going to go and start a new app with a new name, throw it up in the store, and it's going to be there tomorrow, if they haven't done so already.
Well, that's a possibility, but they will start from zero if that's the case, and that's it's not a quick thing to build to however many hundreds of millions.
They can literally reskin the existing apps, give it another brand, and put it up in the Play Store.
I think it's a fair point is that the people that are likely very interested in TikTok, the ones that are most harmed by this ban, will move on, and they were going to move on anyway. In 2 years, TikTok was going to be nothing. I can't even.
Because something else will be trendy.
Something will be trendy, and they'll move on. So they'll move on.
Well, before TikTok, it was called Vine, where they had 6-second videos. Remember that? And then they went out of business. Let's go to the phones. Your calls and thoughts here. Mark in Tallahassee is on the line with us listening to WVFT FM. Go ahead, Mark.
Yeah, I was just amused at this being couched as a free speech issue. Is it the free speech of the Chinese government?
You're kind of fading in and out there on your call. I don't know if it's a cell or you're just moving around on your phone. Can you say that again?
I was curious. Are they worried about the free speech of the Chinese government, or are they worried about the free speech of the user?
Ian, are you worried about the free speech of the Chinese government, or are you worried about the free speech of the user?
Let's clarify something. Government's just an idea. There are people, okay? There are people who work for an organization that calls itself the Chinese government, okay? So the people who wrote this particular code and work at this company called Tencent. Now, again, I don't know what percentage owned Tencent is by the Chinese government. It may be 100%. It may be 10%. I don't know what level of control they have. A quick look at their Wikipedia page does not reveal any information about that. So the question is, can people who work for the government write a program and have it distributed on places and platforms that want to allow it to be distributed if there is freedom of speech? Yes, they should be allowed to do that if there is freedom of speech, in the same way that Karl Marx can write a book and have that published, and Adolf Hitler can write a book and have that published.
Can you rob me to get the money to be able to program your app so that you can put it out? Because that's kind of what the government does.
Can you explain to me any benefit that's accrued to the Chinese people through their social credit system? And if you can't, how is the Chinese building a database on U.S. citizens of any benefit to anyone?
I don't care about whether it's a benefit or not to people. That's like asking whether or not somebody's free speech is actually benefiting somebody. Oh, well, that person over there is saying something ugly. How is that a benefit to anybody? Well, generally, it's not, because it's ugly speech, and most people don't want to hear it, and it ruins people's days. But we in the United States used to believe that freedom of speech mattered enough to allow the ugly speech, that we understood that if we wanted to protect the idea of being able to express ourselves, especially in criticism of the government, that we had to allow the ugliest of speech to exist, that we had to give it enough space.
Well, you're ducking and dodging here. So
no,
in one breath, you're saying the critique the government. Excuse me, sir. Hold on just 1 second.
Collecting information.
Can you?
You've got plenty of time to talk, Mark. Sorry, Mark. Mark on Tallahassee. Please say that again.
The Chinese government, first of all, has no rights. The government takes rights from the people.
Agreed.
Mm-hmm.
Second, they're building a database to use against U.S. citizens. It has nothing to do with benefits, whether they're violating our rights now or not.
Okay, can we go ahead and be consistent then, Mark, and prohibit every government app from existing in the United States as well? Would you agree with that?
I don't know which ones you're talking about. What government?
Every app that is released by all the government agencies in the United States are likely collecting information on the people that use it. Should we go ahead and prohibit all of those apps?
They're not a foreign government.
Oh, it's okay when the people in your backyard take information about you, huh? The people in your neighborhood?
U.S. government doing it.
How many of the people that work for the U.S. government, sir, do you know personally?
Government has no right. Yeah.
You think it's okay for the U.S. government to spy on you, sir?
Sir, I probably have to fill out tax forms. They know my house. They know the value of my house.
I gotta let you go, man. I can't understand a word you're saying at this point, but it sounds like he just loves filling out tax forms or something like that. All right, Mark, go ahead with your spiel.
Yeah, so on one hand, you're saying government, and then you're saying government doesn't exist. Okay, so...
yeah, it's just an idea.
Great. Let's take that premise. Government is just an idea.
Right.
But there are people,
one.
lots of people believe in it.
Sure.
And there are people on both sides of this issue, Chinese government people and U.S. government people.
Mm-hmm.
And
then there's all the rest of the people who just want to use a damn TikTok app.
There are lots of people that want to use a TikTok app. Yeah. And I'm going to say that's, it's unfortunate.
And you're saying that for their own good.
And by the way,
the government needs to step in.
My main concern is WeChat, not TikTok. Here, and I've made that abundantly clear.
Why does that matter? It's the same company.
Because it's basically the state's Facebook over there, plus it includes transactions. I've watched people make transactions on WeChat.
So what? What does that have to do with anything?
I'm just telling you that it happened. And what I'm trying to tell you is if this is a spy app, and I'm going to go ahead and go out on a limb and say, yeah, I believe thoroughly that it's putting together profiles.
Well, they said TikTok was a spy app. They said TikTok was copying.
Are you moving back and forth or not? Here, we're talking about WeChat at this moment.
I want to talk about them both. It's the same. They're both the same company, and they're both being banned.
We'll lump them in together, and we'll say they're both doing it. Then. If that's what's going on, I do not mind when the government goes after the government. Do you? Because I've watched you celebrate government people working for the government being, drug up by other people working in the government for other government agencies on, for trial and justice and these sorts of things.
That doesn't bother me, but it does bother me when they cross the line and they ban free speech, and that's what you're saying. And I don't care who writes the program. That is absolutely what you said because you said you support these apps being banned. That is the ban on freedom of speech.
It's the freedom of speech of a rapacious government that takes people's organs. While they're alive from their internment camps.
It's ugly. It's ugly. Freedom of speech is ugly, isn't it?
No, that's not freedom of speech.
It is.
You cannot tax people, steal their money, develop an app with that, and call it freedom of speech because it's not free anymore. You stole the money to do it.
Okay, so do you support banning RT?
Look, as far as if the Russian people banned RT, yes.
No. Do you support the United States government banning RT? RT standing for Russian television, run by the Russian government, funded by Russian tax money, stolen from Russian people, the same exact argument you just made.
Are you ready for me to respond?
Yep.
I don't think RT descends to the level of collecting dossiers on a large
So you have an
swath of the
arbitrary distinction here.
Yes. Do you know what arbitrary means? Arbitrary means you're just making a decision. Yes, I am making a decision.
So you want to put the U.S. government in charge of who should get to play what apps that they want. You want a government software approval board to look at all software and determine whether or not it's a threat to the United States people.
Yes. I want to make.
And how are you going to know that what softwares are government softwares?
Look, that's not my job.
All right, I know. But
are you putting me in charge?
No, but you
I
want
get to
someone
ban
in charge
the apps
of this
today.
Yeah, you want to put somebody in charge of this. You're supporting this.
I'd like it to be me if they could.
Yeah, you're supporting this,
and I'd like a $500,000 a year paycheck.
You
to
think
do it.
somebody in the U.S. government should get to decide who can play what apps in the United States?
I already know that somebody in the Chinese government is harvesting organs.
Not my concern.
I know it's not, and you don't give a damn about those people's livers.
I've got more concerns right now because I live here in this place, which is called New Hampshire, which is supposedly part of the United States, and so I'm more concerned with what's happening to my neighbors.
Did you download TikTok so you make sure you got it?
I've had TikTok in the past, actually. Yes, I have had that app.
Well, now's the time to get it.
And I wanted to see what it was like, and it was, somewhat entertaining. There was, a number of people with some pretty creative things that they did on that particular app, and I understand why it's popular.
And you could use that app to you could do those kind of creative things on other apps, though, right?
I suppose
Facebook, you could put little videos on.
And I can watch ABC and NBC and Fox as well, but I'd prefer to watch RT and get the Russian government's perspective on things. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. There's also Press TV, which is run by the Iranian government. Should that also be banned? Because they're killing people over there in Iran. 855-450-FREE, like freedom. This is Free Talk Live. You can weigh in as well. Hour 3's coming next.
Remember when you first heard about Bitcoin? How long did it take you to realize this little project would soon change the world? Do you kind of wish you had gotten involved sooner? Well, now's your chance to be part of the next revolution in money. Intercoin is working to finally make crypto go mainstream. It's designed to be scalable enough to support everyday payments and even elections without the state. Bitcoin was originally supposed to be a peer-to-peer cash system, the way we would all pay one another without having to trust any third party. But instead, over time, it mostly became a store of value. That's because every 10 minutes, the Bitcoin network must put all transactions into a block, and that block can only hold so much. If crypto is to become mainstream, for everyone to use it in everyday payments, we need a new architecture, one that's as secure as Bitcoin while being far more scalable. Check out intercoin.org to find out more, and maybe pick up some of those coins for yourself.
Do you have a WordPress website running WooCommerce and want to accept cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin, Dash, Bitcoin Cash, and Bitcoin SV? Now you can easily enable crypto payments from your customers by adding the AnyPay plugin to your WordPress site. Just visit AnyPayInc.com and set up your account by entering your cryptocurrency wallet addresses in the admin. Then enable the AnyPay plugin in your WooCommerce. That's it. Now your website takes crypto like Bitcoin thanks to AnyPayInc.com. AnyPayInc.com. So you've heard all 3 hours of the latest episode of Free Talk Live, and you're still hungry for liberty-oriented audio content? Did you know that we have another 24/7 audio stream at LRN.FM? The Liberty Radio Network airs the latest episodes of some of the best liberty-oriented podcasts on the internet around the clock. In addition to recorded content, you'll also hear live shows like Free Talk Live, originating from our Keene, New Hampshire studio. So listen anytime at LRN.FM. That's LRN.FM.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 3 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
Fill that seat. I'm Joe Giro, Fox News. That's what President Trump told a crowd a short time ago in Fayetteville, North Carolina, that he's going to do in regard to naming a nominee to replace Supreme Court Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg, who died last night.
So Article 2 of our Constitution says the President shall nominate justices of the Supreme Court. I don't think it can be any more clear, can it? I don't think so.
The president says he'll name a woman as the nominee next week. Democrats are vehemently against naming a new Supreme Court justice before the election. Thousands of people are expected at a candlelight vigil getting underway in Washington at the Supreme Court for Justice Ginsburg. People stream there all day as a makeshift memorial continues to grow.
Vice presidential candidate and California Senator Kamala Harris stopped by, but she didn't speak to the media. Ginsburg lost her husband back in 2010, but she was surrounded by her family here in Washington before passing away. A private interment service is expected to be held at Arlington National Cemetery in the coming days. Exact schedule is still being worked out, but you can bet so many people will be flocking here to the Supreme Court to pay their respects.
Fox's Mark Meredith. An envelope reportedly containing the deadly poison ricin was intercepted before being sent to the White House.
The letter was sent to the president, and that letter apparently, according to our sources, contained ricin. The FBI saying this: the FBI and our U.S. Secret Service and U.S. Postal Inspection Service partners are investigating a suspicious letter received at a U.S. government mail facility. While senior law enforcement officials tell us that it likely contained the substance ricin, we don't know if all the testing on that substance has been concluded.
Fox's Kevin Cork. America is listening to Fox News.
For over 20 years, millions of customers have trusted Blinds.com to update their homes. Because Blinds.com makes it easy to get custom blinds that'll give your windows a high-end look without the high-end price. Whether you like to do it yourself, need help with design, or prefer measure and install services, they keep it simple with easy online ordering and free shipping right to your door. New window treatments are a simple way to really benefit the look and feel of your home. And Blinds.com will guide you every step of the way with free online design help. And if you're nervous about trying them, don't be. Blinds.com has over 30,000 5-star customer reviews, and they guarantee the perfect fit for your windows, whether you do it yourself or have them measure and install everything for you. Go to Blinds.com now to take advantage of this week's special savings on interior blinds, shades, shutters, and even outdoor shades. Rules and restrictions may apply.
Another potential hurricane is brewing in the Gulf of Mexico that will impact the Texas coast.
It's Tropical Storm Beta at the moment, but the National Hurricane Center says it will likely reach hurricane strength on Sunday. Current track projections show the storm making landfall very early Tuesday morning, but Galveston County Emergency Management Director Judge Mark Henry says,
the problem with this storm, it's not terribly powerful, but it has been so far very erratic and unpredictable.
Beta would be the third tropical system to hit Texas this year. Harris County meteorologist Jeff Lindner.
Once again, high tides, once again, extreme amount of rain, but we're ready for just about anything.
Why Beta? They've run out of storm names for 2020, and they're now using letters of the Greek alphabet for the rest of the season. Jack Callahan, Fox News.
A star pitcher in the MLB announcing that his season is over due to an injury. Fox's Ryan Mayer with the details.
Houston Astros ace Justin Verlander took to Instagram Saturday.
LRN.FM's free-to-air satellite feeds blanket most of 2 continents. It was my goal to put our channel there so people without internet could receive our programs and feed pirate radio stations. As our contract with our satellite provider is coming up for another 3-year renewal, I have to consider calling it quits. It's rare that we get feedback or support from our satellite users. We started a fundraiser a few years ago, and though there are a bunch of great contributors to it, as of this recording, it covers 15% of our monthly satellite costs. Please email lrn@lrn.fm and tell me how you use the satellite feed. Better yet, chip in at fund.lrn.fm. The costs aren't the issue. We can afford them, but why continue something not valued by the market? Want to help? You can join our satellite fundraiser for just $2 a month at fund.lrn.fm. If we raise enough to keep both channels on the air, awesome. If we raise more, I'll add more channels. If not, we can shut them down and go internet only. It's up to you. Thank you for your support. Fund.lrn.fm.
Despite being objectively awful people, newly engaged couple Ross Bird and Jessica Black want their upcoming wedding to really reflect their personalities.
We're pulling out all the stops to have a kind of wedding that just screams us.
Yeah.
We're going to have a bluegrass band playing 80s pop songs. Because Ross loves bluegrass, but I love 80s music.
And then at the end of the ceremony, this is great, we're going to pass out sparklers to all the guests.
Sources claim that a bunch of candles in mason jars and an Instagram photo booth will truly capture the essence of the insufferable pair.
We didn't want some big stuffy ceremony.
Yeah,
It should feel more like a fun dance party for our friends.
Because the night's about us, yes, but I mean, it's also, about the people who make us us.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And those people love us exactly for our uniqueness.
Sources hoped with every fiber of their being that these two would be divorced within a year.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
It is Free Talk Live, kicking off the third hour here on the live Saturday edition of the show. You can dial in toll-free and bring up anything that you want, although certainly your comments are welcome on this recent attack on freedom of speech. And sadly, one of our co-hosts is defending it. Another one of our co-hosts has just been watching the two of us argue and hasn't really had much of a chance to get his opinion in here. And I suspect you have one, Captain Kickass.
I've said what I want to say on the subject, which is it's, to me, the digital equivalent of book burning.
So you're with me on this, then?
I think it is wrong for the United States government to ban any software from anywhere, really.
Absolutely.
And I think it's amusing and often good when governments go at each other.
Okay, but you support this ban.
I do.
So you support
I've looked at
a government agency, in this case, Donald Trump and his whatever executive bureaucracy,
whatever's the kind of
making
fiat.
an arbitrary determination as to whether or not a piece of software can be available inside the United States.
A piece of software.
I have a question for Mark.
Yeah.
Mark, I enjoy a Chinese whiskey, for example.
All right.
But it's produced by the Chinese government because they claim to own all the whiskey
Pretty much
production.
true.
Right. And so I get it imported from China. The United States decides to ban that whiskey.
All right. Now, I'd like to be specific on these
question?
apps. Well, what's my reaction to it?
Okay.
Yeah.
So you guys have been bringing up RT.
I just wanted to bring the same thing down to like a tangible thing.
I don't think, but I disagree that it's a tangible thing, and this is where the arbitrariness of my statement is that I get it when you're saying a book, but a book is a solid thing, and it doesn't crawl out at night and go through your filing cabinet and get your stuff. Whereas an app, on the other hand, can be designed to go through people's stuff and find out information.
Right. So the little people need the smart people in the government to make decisions for them about what they can and can't do. Right, Mark?
Well,
That's
I would say
position?
that is the government smart? They tend not to be. They tend to make a lot of mistakes. But the reality is that half of the people in America have an IQ below 100. So do they need people to help them make decisions? Yeah, they do.
Well, then they can choose to have somebody help them make decisions if they feel
They've
need some
been choosing
assistance.
to download the NSA spy app called Facebook for a long time, Ian. How's that make you feel?
It's none of my business what people put on their phones. I have no feeling whatsoever about it. If you want to put Facebook on your phone, go right ahead. Okay? I believe you still use Facebook, as a matter of fact, Mark.
I use it to promote Free Talk Live.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you use their app?
I have their app.
Okay. Well, then, you really don't have much to say about this. You're a hypocrite at that point. If you're fine with the U.S. government going through your phone.
Hold on. Yes, if I haven't said it up to this point enough times to drive the point home, I'll say it one more time. I like this group of liars and thieves, the red, white, and blue group of liars and thieves.
Because they would never hurt you.
Better than I like the red and yellow group of
anything
liars,
against you.
killers, and thieves.
So, okay. So anything that the Chinese government does is bad and should be prohibited, right? No.
Every organization gets it right sometimes.
But if your goal is to stop the poor, innocent U.S. people from being spied upon by the Chinese government, then shouldn't you be consistent in that goal? So shouldn't people from the United States be prohibited from using any app from any Chinese company?
I can see the concern, and those things and concerns haven't been raised about those apps.
Oh,
what about televisions that are all made in China? Smart TVs, for example.
Yeah, well, I mean, there you go. There's little cameras on them, right?
And you claim that you were worried the most about the WeChat app, which is a chatting app. Like,
oh, no, it's not. It is your whole life.
Well, I don't know about that.
Like just about everything in China.
Maybe that's true in China, but for people outside of China, it's a chat app that you can use to chat with people in China.
Putting pressure on people to not have Chinese spy software on their phones in America is good for the Chinese people. It's good for them.
How is it good to cut them off from communication with people in the United States?
From people in the United States?
Yeah, you could download the WeChat app and you can chat with people who are in China.
There you go. Well, it's... Look,
so should we stop people from making international phone calls to China? Because the Chinese government could be intercepting all those calls. I think, and they could be hearing everything that people talk about. I've got a question for you.
Yeah, I hear it.
If what you're concerned about is the Chinese government ingesting information about what people are saying on this WeChat app, then shouldn't you also be wanting to prohibit people from calling and speaking to the Chinese people? They could be talking about business deals. They could be talking about secretive information, family information, all kinds of info that the Chinese government could be ingesting. The same sort of things they would be ingesting by downloading the WeChat.
Thank you for asking, because you've had me consider this. And I think that the United States government should prohibit communication to China and say that it was because of the takeover of Hong Kong. That Chinese people who are attempting to contact other people in the United States, we have decided that your government is terrifyingly totalitarian. And until you do something about it, we're just stopping. Like we're going to pull all communications out. Yeah,
so
I'm in.
We, the U.S. government, will be more like the Chinese government by doing that.
No, I don't think so. I mean, you got the rest of the globe. The Chinese government.
Wow, I can't believe it that you actually agreed that people shouldn't be able to call people in China.
Yep, I'm fine with it.
You're out of your mind. You have no principle whatsoever when it comes to freedom of speech, and you should be ashamed of yourself, and you have no business behind a microphone.
I'm concerned.
You have no business
with the freedom of speech of the people in Hong Kong.
Let's go to the phones.
I don't
want to hear anything more from you. Let's talk to people
I went there.
With an opinion.
I took some time in my life to go there.
Congratulations. 855-450 free. So that means you can get to decide what people can do with their
devices. More say than you.
No, you don't. You have just as much say. You're another jackball behind a microphone. Let's continue here with your calls and thoughts, except you're the only one in the room who doesn't care about freedom of speech, and you should be ashamed. You should be ashamed. Yeah,
I don't care that totalitarian regimes get to put spyware on Americans' phones.
If you cared about freedom of speech, you would defend people's ability to make choices for themselves.
It diminishes freedom of speech.
You think people are stupid. You think you're so smart and that you're smarter than everybody else, and that you and your buddies in the government should make decisions for people.
Not my buddies in the government.
Well, you just said you like them better.
I like them.
And you're acting like they're doing you a favor, and you're acting like they're doing something to help people.
I would rather
BS,
have,
dude.
I would rather have skin cancer than lymphoma. Okay, that doesn't mean that I like skin cancer.
Mm-hmm. Well, you like what they're doing here because you support it.
There you go.
You support the government banning freedom of speech.
Call?
Yeah. You just keep on yammering. Are you ready?
Fine.
Let's go to Doug in Columbia, listening to WQXL in South Carolina. Go ahead, Doug.
Hey, guys. I've got a slightly different point on this. I feel that governments should not exist.
Me too.
In the first place.
Oh, I agree.
So, therefore, what government does should not exist either, and that includes creating and prohibiting.
Okay.
I agree with that statement.
Was that it?
So they shouldn't be creating anything, especially not with stolen money, and they shouldn't be prohibiting anything that people want to engage in freely. So our government shouldn't be banning anything.
Totally agree.
And if those people in China want to step outside of the government circle and start their app and do their freedom of speech, nobody's stopping them from doing it privately.
Well, except
it would probably be much more
well, yeah. I mean, the government gets involved in a lot of businesses there in China, from what I understand.
Yeah,
so
pretty thoroughly.
You pretty much have
As a matter of fact, if it's very likely if you're a Chinese person, like ethnically Chinese, not a national, not a Chinese national, but just maybe you're born in Hong Kong or Singapore or something like that, and you've got a successful business, that the Chinese government will come along and kidnap you and then have you sign over your business for your freedom and the lives of your family members.
And that should not exist.
Yeah, it should not
along
exist.
With the Chinese government.
And yeah, indeed. Yep. Here.
But you do agree, Doug, that people should be able to make choices about what they install on their phones and not have Barack Obama or Donald Trump decide for them?
I agree with that, and I don't think our U.S. government or Chinese government should be creating anything with tax dollars either.
True, but they are. So since they are, I should have the freedom to do whatever I want with it, right?
We should have the freedom to do what we want to do with ourselves, and we should also say, you guys can't do anything with us that we don't want you to do.
Thanks for the call tonight, Doug. I'm not sure what that means, but I appreciate it. 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. What do you think? Freedom of speech not so important anymore because there's a big bad government out there somewhere?
Should you be able to download spy apps?
It's Free Talk Live. Absolutely. That's what freedom's all about. The freedom to be able to make bad choices.
Free Talk Live is aired on nearly 200 radio stations throughout the week, and we've been doing this for almost 18 years. You can call in any evening from 7 p.m. to 10 p.m. Eastern to talk about whatever's on your mind. Sure, you can waste your time on Facebook and reach dozens of surly posters, or you can call in with your issue and reach 3 surly hosts. Oh, and nearly 500,000 weekly listeners. The number is 1-855-450-3733. That's 855-450-FREE, as in freedom.
Every year, over 1 million fires burn in America. Fortunately, firefighters are on the job, saving life and property, and you can be a part of it. 7 out of 10 firefighters and emergency responders are volunteers. There's no typical firefighter. Anyone can volunteer to serve their community. Volunteering as a first responder is really about having the heart and drive to make a difference where it's needed most. Your community needs you. Are you ready to answer the call? Learn more and find local volunteer opportunities at makemeafirefighter.org.
Join liberty-minded voluntarists, anarchists, and libertarians from June 28th through July 4th for ForkFest 2021 at Rogers Campground in the beautiful White Mountains of New Hampshire. ForkFest happens the week after the Porcupine Freedom Festival, and ForkFest is decentralized, which means no one is in charge. That also means there's no ticket cost. Just reserve your camping, RV site, or motel room with Rogers Campground for June 28th through July 4th. Where better to celebrate Independence Day than around other freedom-loving activists in the Shire? You can relax and enjoy the camaraderie of like-minded people, or you can create whatever experience or event you'd like others to have. If you're planning an event for ForkFest, be sure to let others know in advance. You can connect with fellow ForkFesters via the unofficial Telegram chat or the ForkFest forum. Links to those are on the unofficial website, forkfest.party. Mark your calendar for June 28th through July 4th, 2021. We'll see you at forkfest.party. The Free State Project has reached its goal of 20,000 liberty lovers who've pledged to move to New Hampshire and get active to achieve liberty in our lifetime. Perhaps you're trying to figure out what part of New Hampshire should be your destination. If so, consider Keene. You'll find more than 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com. Keene is famous for its historic, publicity-generating activism, as well as being the liberty media capital of the world. It's home to freekeene.com, New Hampshire's destination for liberty activism, news, and opinion. For years, we've been compiling over 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com, where you'll learn about some of what's happening here and what makes Keene a great place to live. If you love liberty, you'll probably enjoy anywhere you end up in the Shire. But do your due diligence first. Please visit move.freekeene.com for the full list of over 150 reasons to move to Keene. That's move.freekeene.com. If you want to know the latest about Free Talk Live before we go on the air, all you need to decide is how you want it delivered. It's your choice. Visit news.freetalklive.com to receive our usually weekly news updates by email. Plus, we have a Twitter account at twitter.freetalklive.com, and you can follow us on the decentralized Mastodon platform at toot.freetalklive.com. So please follow us at toot.freetalklive.com and sign up for our emails at news.freetalklive.com.
Are you tired of your taxes funding endless occupations around the world? Antiwar.com is run by people who understand that wars abroad become wars at home, wars on our freedoms. Antiwar.com is dedicated to bringing you the latest in news, views, interviews, and reviews from the top movers and shakers in the anti-occupation movement. Antiwar.com has it all, from thorough foreign policy analysis to interviews with whistleblowers who used to run the military-industrial complex. Anti-war, pro-free market. That's antiwar.com.
Some of our live shows are streamed in HD on Twitch. Please follow and share at twitch.lrn.fm. That's twitch.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live. You can bring up anything you want here. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE, like freedom, 855-450-3733. In the studio tonight, it's Ian.
The captain.
And Mark.
For a long time, libertarians have been wanting to have what they now have in Liberty.menu, a liberty-minded business directory. It's a tool for the liberty community, for people who reject the initiation of force and agree to abide by the ethics of the non-aggression principle. So, Mark, you're no longer allowed at Liberty.menu. It's only for people who actually have some principles and who are willing to stick by them. You can list your events or businesses or digital content that you're involved with over at Liberty.menu, and you can do it for free. You can also rate and review the various different things that are already there. So check it out and put your voluntarist ideas into action at Liberty.menu, although there is no proof that the Chinese government was not involved in the creation of Liberty.menu.
There is no proof of that. It's just not true. We were involved in the creation of Liberty.menu, and I can tell you the Chinese government never came up with the
But you went to China, and who knows, maybe they got to you.
I went to Hong Kong
while you were in China. Maybe they abducted you and turned you, and that's why you're supporting all this tyranny.
Did they steal Mark and replace him with an exact duplicate?
It could very well be. He may
Have
be
you been programmed?
I can't answer that question.
A Chinese
that's not a denial.
A Manchurian candidate, so to speak.
I'd like to address what you said about the non.
No time for you. Let's go on with more of your calls and thoughts. Dana is on the line in Grand Rapids, Michigan. You're on Free Talk Live, Dana.
Thank you, Dana.
Okay, I would like to make 2 points, and I'd like to get through the second point before anybody interrupts and tries to explain what I'm saying.
Well, no guarantees, but go ahead. Give it a shot.
Okay, and I'm directing that at you, Ian.
It should be directed at Ian.
I need to say, you've done this over and over and over throughout the years.
What, defend free speech?
As a listener, it is so infuriating.
Yeah, you really want to ban some apps, huh?
See, you're doing it again. Show some respect as a libertarian.
No, I don't respect people who want to ban things. Sorry.
You laugh hideously and you end a segment right before a commercial saying, Mark doesn't believe in free speech.
He doesn't.
What you're doing when you psychologically and verbally do stuff with shame people like that, whether it's a caller or Mark, is you are doing exactly what the left does. It shuts people down by intimidation, and what it does is it strips your credibility, just like it has the media.
Oh, I don't think Mark's intimidated by that.
Whoa. Hey, if you take away this last little bit of stripping of Ian's credibility, then he'll suddenly get credibility. I don't want him to have it. Let him continue acting like the a-hole that he is.
I'm not the one advocating banning free speech.
I know you don't see it.
The only people who are a-holes are people who are banning free speech. Go ahead, Dana. What would you like to ban?
Number two, the second point is you also said people. You keep saying people have the right to download the app.
Yeah.
First of all, the people you're talking about overwhelmingly, probably in the 90 percentile, are under 18 or under 25.
So, are they not people?
Your brain, you're interrupting again. Your brain is not even developed until 25, and for a whole lot of rhinos and Democrats and progressives.
So should we raise the age of consent to 25?
That being said,
I got a question for you. Should we raise the age of consent to 25? No, I won't. I've got a question for you.
I've worked in computers and IT for many years, and I currently work for the Fed. And I'm telling you, we didn't even know that this app spied. So if you're saying they're allowed the freedom of speech, or
programming is speech, lady. You should know that if you're a programmer.
But they didn't know. Nobody knew until.
Well, of course you don't know. You don't have the ability to reverse engineer every app that you install on your phone.
What about the Patriot Act? You have a problem with the Patriot Act.
Of course,
it's
not very patriotic.
Knowingly accepted. How many intelligent adults accepted the Patriot Act, and what Bush started, look what Obama did. And you're complaining about the Patriot Act, and I'm with you on that, but yet we knew what was in it. That shows you the stupidity of the American people. So
how could you have known what was in it? You didn't read it, did you?
Trump needs to shut this down, because a lot of Americans will do this anyway because they don't realize the
right. So some people are so stupid or ignorant that they need to have. This is a typical tyrant's perspective. Thank you for the call tonight, Dana. Typical tyrant.
Here's what happens when you do things like, banning a thing, or if you get the government involved to try and label a thing like the PMRC back in the day. They got the parental advisory explicit lyric sticker put on all the CDs that contain cuss words. Right. Here's
Wasn't
what
that
happens.
Al Gore's wife who pushed forward for that?
It was Tipper Gordon in the PMRC. Yes, that's a whole degree of hatred that I won't go into at this point in my life. But here's what happens when you do things like that. Right? You either start labeling these things or you start banning these things. You make it more desirable.
Sure.
By banning it, you make it more desirable. Now, people, I bet you WeChat and TikTok both have seen record numbers of downloads in the United States because they know
just today.
They know today is the deadline
I'm sure
for
that's
anybody
true.
to get it. Right? So you haven't done anything to prevent anything
That's
from
more
happening.
evidence that Mark's a secret Chinese agent.
If anything, we have been promoting it here and causing an increase in the download of these apps.
Yeah,
so,
that's absolutely
probably
what
happened globally as well.
And certainly people who want to subvert this particular ban are going to be able to. If they've got Android, they'll be able to go and get the APK file for the TikTok app or WeChat.
Somebody will make it available on a download site somewhere or on the dark web or whatever.
Well, I can't wait until Joe Biden's president so that we can all be free to download spy apps.
I suggest he would continue whatever policy Trump put into place about this. Don't act like there's any difference between those two. Let's go on here. We've got, what do we got? Bob in New Jersey watching online on YouTube. Go ahead, Bob.
Hi. To the captain's point about the whiskey from China, if that whiskey contained poison, would that be a horrible thing if the government said you can't import this particular whiskey from China because it's poison?
Technically, whiskey is poison.
It is an intoxicant.
Not in small quantities, but.
Well, no, what you mean is it won't kill you in small quantities. It's still poison in small quantities.
It is poison, right?
Well, that's true.
I think that it's an interesting comparison because, in fact, it is poison.
But actually, I'm glad you brought that up, Bob, because it was a point that I was going to make as well, where I was bringing up the electronic media like RT and other things, Press TV, run by the Russian or Iranian governments, suggesting that if you want to be consistent in this, then people should be banned completely from communicating with China, which Mark surprisingly jumped on board with. So he's being a consistent tyrant tonight in that particular area. And that would also include prohibiting people from buying things from China as well. So all the wonderful products that we receive from China,
all your televisions, all your phones, your game systems,
they could
all
all
that
have
stuff.
spy devices implemented in them. All the electronics could. The food items, like the toothpaste. I remember hearing about some toothpaste from China that was kind of bad. They had some poison in it.
Wasn't
or
there
whatever.
baby food with like lead in it or something?
Yeah, that happened.
Put it all in a big pile and burn it. It's from China.
Everything from China must be bad, so it should be banned.
There was dog treats that killed dogs. I know that too.
They kill dogs in China.
But the argument over TikTok, though, I think, is over freedom of theft as opposed to freedom of speech.
What's that mean?
They're not banning content. They're banning the entire app because the entire app is a Trojan horse. And not everybody would know that, but I guess the government figured it out. Or it wasn't just the government either that came up with this.
Is there evidence of this?
I don't know about
That's
that.
probably one of those things you look up on the internet and the Democrats say no and the Republicans say yes.
I see.
But either way, whether it's a Trojan horse or not, you should be free to install a Trojan horse if you want to install one, shouldn't you?
I'm not so sure about that.
Yeah, so you want to have an authoritarian dictator, make that decision. Thank you for the call, Bob. 855-450 free, because if that's what you start with, then that's it's going to get worse. What one little ban leads to way more.
News from news.bitcoin.com. Despite years of warnings about cryptocurrency, criminals prefer U.S. dollars for money laundering, study shows. Jim Rogers predicts end of U.S. dollar dominance. Macro strategist Raul Paul says Bitcoin beats gold in every way. New crypto, sushi, plummets around rumors of exit scam. Bitcoin.com is your source for getting started with cryptocurrencies, getting a wallet, buying Bitcoin Cash, mining, and all the latest cryptocurrency news at news.bitcoin.com.
Divvy's been a pretty good investment for Free Talk Live. Their ad campaign started in September 2019, and from mid-March to mid-July, the values soared by 10 times. It's not too late. Divvy's new wallet hasn't even released yet, and other things are happening that I can't even say on the radio. If you want to invest and potentially do well, go to DivvyProject.org. I can tell you that FTL is deepening its partnership with the guys from DivvyProject.org. Past performance is not an indication of future profit. DivvyProject.org. DIVI Project.org.
This is Michael Dean from the Freedom Fiends. I've run websites since 1996 and have used over a dozen web hosts in that time. AgristHosting.com is the only one that hasn't broken my heart. Agrist Hosting's uptime and service is stellar. and their DDoS mitigation is the best I've seen. That's important because if you tell the truth in this world, you'll ruffle feathers. And some people will try dirty tricks to silence your voice. No matter what the haters hit us with, Agorist Hosting keeps our websites online. If you have a mission-critical commercial presence or a world-changing activism site, you cannot tolerate any skullduggery. So go with agoristhosting.com. Have a WordPress or blog site, but you're not satisfied with performance or uptime? Or just want raw hosting? Want to pay with Bitcoin? Agorist Hosting specializes in high-performance hosting with personalized service. Go to agoristhosting.com and click on the button that says Get Hosted. That's agoristhosting.com.
Bitcoin.com has launched a trading platform at local.bitcoin.com, allowing you to buy or sell Bitcoin Cash via dozens of payment methods like PayPal, Venmo, bank deposit, remittances, or meeting in person with cash. There are no ID requirements to sign up for and use the site, and all communications between buyers and sellers are encrypted. Finally, a global trading platform that respects your privacy. Visit local.bitcoin.com to get started trading Bitcoin Cash. local.bitcoin.com. The LRN.FM social media channels have been revamped. We've eliminated Facebook and focused on other platforms like Twitter and Mastodon, the decentralized alternative to Twitter. On our accounts, you'll find posts from multiple LRN.FM show hosts together in one place. Follow us on Twitter at twitter.lrn.fm, or better yet, move to the decentralized Mastodon social media platform at toot.lrn.fm, toot.lrn.fm. I think you'll like it.
We have some good news. The indictments against Ross Ulbricht in the District of Maryland were dismissed with prejudice, meaning they can never be refiled. This is especially good because those indictments contain the only charge ever made that Ross engaged in murder for hire. This was a serious allegation that Ross Ulbricht denies. It was never prosecuted or ruled on by a jury, but was trumpeted by the federal government and the media as if it were proven fact. The Maryland court held these indictments for almost 5 years, poisoning Ross's case and leaving him under a cloud of unproven allegations. As explained in Ross's appeal to the Supreme Court, the fact that the judge used these allegations to give Ross a draconian sentence of double life without parole violated his Sixth Amendment right to a jury trial. Judges are required to issue sentences based on convictions decided by a jury, not unproven allegations never even charged at trial. Although this is a positive development, the dropped indictment will not set Ross free. Now, a presidential pardon is Ross's only hope of freedom. Sign the petition at freeross.org. freeross.org.
Love what we do? Please help support our international satellite channels at patreon.lrn.fm. That's patreon.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live. You can bring up anything that you want here. We're talking about the current attack on freedom of speech against the apps made by a company called Tencent. Whether or not they are fully Chinese-owned, Chinese government-owned or not, I don't know. In fact, there's a lot that we don't actually know about this whole controversy. With you in the studio tonight, it's Ian.
The Reverend Captain Kickass.
And Mark.
So the conversation we've been having has been predicated on the belief that these apps made by Tencent, WeChat, and TikTok are Chinese government-enabled spying apps. However, and so you've expressed yourself pretty clearly here, Mark. You support that these apps be banned, and I find that really disturbing. We've gotten into that. But let's just go back for just a moment. What is it that makes you believe that they are spying apps? Have you seen evidence for that?
Well, I just got an article here, AndroidAuthority.com.
Well, it's got authority in the name. Must be true.
Yeah, I don't know anything about it, but they got a little picture of the Android guy here.
Yeah, sure.
And it says, this is the title. I searched, is WeChat a spy app? I believe is what I searched. And it says, WeChat appears to be spying on foreigners' chats to fuel censorship algorithm. And let me get the first paragraph. It's one sentence long. The incredibly popular Chinese chat app WeChat is being put under a microscope by Citizen Lab. I'm going to presume that they're unbiased. In a study, the researchers found that not only is WeChat spying on the chats of Chinese users, which we pretty much knew, but it's also looking in on chats from foreigners, and this is the important part, with the goal. So they didn't just stop there, that they were spying on foreigners, with the goal of fueling its censorship algorithms.
Now, how would they know that is the goal?
I don't know. Ask the Citizen Lab.
Well, you're not asking. You're just assuming that what they're saying is true. How would you
Do they
know
have
that
a
that's the
censorship
goal?
algorithm?
How would they
and
know?
are they using the chats with foreigners in order to fuel that algorithm?
I don't
and
know.
I think that would be relatively easy to figure out.
I don't think it would.
If you say Tiananmen Square over and over again and then they suddenly ban it, then you have some evidence that they're banning Tiananmen Square.
Yeah.
If you change Tiananmen Square to T2Tiananmen, or
you know that they do that with Facebook, right? They ban certain things from Facebook.
You have me on the ropes when you're talking about Facebook.
Well,
Facebook is the United States government's spy app.
Okay, I think you ought to know then that according to Business Insider in an article published yesterday, headline, as the U.S. gets ready to ban TikTok downloads, there's still no proof the app is spying on you for China. According to this, all the claims about the spying of TikTok have come from the U.S. government. The Trump administration maintains because TikTok is owned by a Chinese company that it poses a security risk. In July, it ran ads claiming TikTok spies on people. So it's the government, the U.S. government, that you're trusting in this matter.
Here it says Citizen Lab.
Okay, I don't know what that is. You're talking about the app WeChat. This article is about TikTok. Okay. I don't know how many people in the United States use WeChat.
It's made by the same company.
It is. I don't know how many people in the United States use WeChat, but it's millions and millions of them that use TikTok.
Yeah.
TikTok is insanely popular. It is widely used by young people across the United States.
And that's why it feels much more like a Trojan horse.
Okay. So, but nonetheless, there doesn't seem to be much in the way of evidence, according to Business Insider. Zoe Villain, Chief Privacy and Strategy Officer at privacy app Jumbo, told Business Insider that looking at TikTok's privacy policy, it was no more intrusive than Facebook's. Quote, from what I see from the privacy policy and in comparison with the policies of Facebook and Instagram, I really don't see much difference. Basically, they're saying that they're using your usage data, behavior data, preferences, friends, contacts to provide you with their service, to customize the service, and of course, to do targeted advertising. And
so this is reading their terms of service. That's the evidence
exactly
we have
what
here?
Facebook is doing and Instagram is doing too. Villain pointed out the main difference between TikTok and Instagram and Facebook is the kind of data users are routinely plugging into the app, as TikTok relies on video, he said. I think the main difference is people are recording themselves, and this is being recorded.
So again, I think that the United States government, possibly even Donald Trump himself, or whomever is advising him, are jealous of these two apps. That they
Why?
don't have.
Facebook's more effective.
No, I don't think it is.
It's got higher market penetration than TikTok.
Well, okay,
Not
but
among young people.
But I don't think that they're getting the level of spying out of Facebook that the Chinese people seem to be getting out of these two, if they are getting any at all.
They're getting it.
Their advisors are telling them that. And so I think it's just a case. You're in some ways, during the break, you mentioned something, Mark, about governments fighting governments. This is exactly what's going on. And the only people who here are losing are, of course, people, right? The non-government people.
Let's dig through the code. As the reports about the U.S. forcing TikTok to hive off its American business began to swirl in early August, security researcher Baptiste Robert decided to do a deep dive into what data TikTok sends back to its servers in an attempt to cut through the geopolitical rhetoric. Reverse engineering an app like TikTok's is not an easy task, and Robert is publishing a series of posts about his findings. In his first post, he noted that a single report can't be expected to definitively prove whether or not TikTok poses a national security threat because it uses millions of lines of code. But he also said he didn't find anything suspicious. Quote, as far as we can see in its current state, TikTok doesn't have a suspicious behavior and is not exfiltrating unusual data. Getting data about the user device is quite common in the mobile world, and we would obtain similar results with Facebook, Snapchat, Instagram, and others, his report concluded. So it sounds like you bought the government line, hook, line, and sinker on this, Mark.
No, I mean, look.
You did.
What I'm looking at here is I'm saying that
you heard it was a spy app and you believed it.
Well, I think they're all spy apps. I think just about every app, that calculator app you downloaded.
But you want these to be banned.
I am deeply concerned about the organization. If I need to repeat myself, I consider the Chinese government in its iterations in the last 10 years, that the changes that have gone there to be some of the most terrifying stuff I've seen in my lifetime. Yes, they are terrifying. Yes, they are harvesting people's organs. Yes, they are running internment camps.
They're also
and yes, they're awful.
Yeah, they're also not very likely to ever bother you.
I'm not going there.
Right. So they're not really a concern. If the
They're
U.S.
a concern
government wants to
because I care about
data,
freedom of the Chinese people.
If the U.S. government wants to harvest your data and use it against you, they have you within arm's reach.
Indeed.
And they can come after you for whatever they want, including sending a nasty text message to somebody and then put you in prison for 20 years, which is what they're going to try to do to Chris Cantwell beginning with his trial next week, which is another assault on freedom of speech here in this country.
Yeah, I think Cantwell can make a good argument. He's a vile individual, but he can make a good argument that he's a political prisoner.
Let's go to more of your calls and thoughts. Jason's in New Mexico listening to KENN. Go ahead, Jason.
Hey, guys.
Hey.
So, Ian, I just want to say one thing. I think it's more of an infringement on a freedom of expression than freedom of speech. Because your freedom of speech doesn't give you the right to infringe on mine, correct?
No, well, I mean, depends on what you mean, but generally, you have a set of rights, and I can't infringe upon those. Sure.
Yeah,
but I can say what I want,
like
even if it hurts your
Chinese
feelings.
Government doesn't exactly.
Yeah.
And the Chinese government doesn't have the right to infringe on my right to freedom of speech or expression.
Certainly, they do not have that right,
or whatever.
Yeah, you're a human being, so you have a right to freedom of speech.
So now, back to this fact of the quote-unquote chief intelligence officer, aka wolf in sheep's clothing. I would like to say that he did take an oath as the president to serve and protect against any enemies, foreign or domestic. Which, in that case, yes, he should be stopping all spying. I agree there.
If that's true and he wants to follow that consistently, he would take himself out.
Mm-hmm.
I can see that too. But still, the point being is there are things already in place that we have to deal with and we have to work with. And Ian, yes, you're an anarchist. You don't.
No, I'm a voluntarist. I believe all human interaction should be consensual.
Okay.
Hold on. I know you're trying to make a point here, Jason. Stand by. We'll bring you back here in just a moment. Stand by. 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. It's disturbing how many people, you just have to say, oh, Chinese is bad. And then they support the total ban on free speech. Because if it starts with this, it's going to go to something else. The question is,
slippery slope is a fallacy.
It's real. More coming up.
With a MECTEC carbine conversion unit, you can turn an XD family Glock or 1911 handgun into a carbine rifle in seconds and have it shipped right to your door, no FFL required. Now, MECTEC is excited to announce our pistol carbine conversion unit. More compact with a 12-inch barrel and an arm brace, proving once again that MECTEC is the world's most versatile handgun accessory. For a limited time, go to handgunconversions.com. That's handgunconversions.com and use coupon code RADIO to receive $35 off any carbine purchase.
The battle of late-stage or terminal illness is a fight that affects everything and everyone in your life. If you or a loved one are dealing with advanced stage conditions that are causing financial hardship, like stage 3 or stage 4 cancer, Alzheimer's, COPD, or ALS, then this message is for you. Our Funds for Living program make it a simple 3-step process. Text the word LIVE to 411-411 or visit fifthseasonfinancial.com/radio and we'll send you a link to get started. Choose the amount of money you need, apply in seconds. That's it, and you're under no obligation. Fifth Season will advance a portion of your life insurance policy and take over your premium payments so you can provide immediate financial relief to the ones you love, all without any out-of-pocket expenses. Fifth Season Financial wants to help you live your best life. Text LIVE to 411-411. Text the word LIVE to 411-411.
What if you could cut your heating bills this winter with your existing wood-burning fireplace and not spend thousands doing it? You can with Great Wall of Fire fireplace grates. Our U.S. patented made-in-America Wall of Fire grates increase fireplace efficiency, eliminate fireplace smoke problems, and come with a 30-day money-back guarantee. See our grates in action and get free shipping from walloffire.com or call 800-274-7364. Fireplace heat without fireplace smoke. walloffire.com.
Join liberty-minded voluntarists, anarchists, and libertarians from June 28th through July 4th for ForkFest 2021 at Rogers Campground in the beautiful White Mountains of New Hampshire. ForkFest happens the week after the Porcupine Freedom Festival, and ForkFest is decentralized, which means no one is in charge. That also means there's no ticket cost. Just reserve your camping, RV site, or motel room with Rogers Campground for June 28th through July 4th. Where better to celebrate Independence Day than around other freedom-loving activists in the Shire? You can relax and enjoy the camaraderie of like-minded people, or you can create whatever experience or event you'd like others to have. If you're planning an event for ForkFest, be sure to let others know in advance. You can connect with fellow ForkFesters via the unofficial Telegram chat or the ForkFest forum. Links to those are on the unofficial website, forkfest.party. Mark your calendar for June 28th through July 4th, 2021. We'll see you at forkfest.party. There are lots of ways to listen to Free Talk Live. Our podcast has been around since podcasts began, and now the FTL feed is loaded with content besides our full show archives. Did you know that we make it easy for you to customize your podcast subscriptions? We have different feeds, one that includes only our full shows, one with just the Daily Digest, and our main feed that includes everything. You decide what you listen to. It's quick and easy to customize your feeds at feeds.freetalklive.com. That's feeds.freetalklive.com.
I'm a little obsessed with My Magic Mud. Several years ago, I met Jessica Armand, the founder and CEO of My Magic Mud, and I didn't even know my teeth were coffee stained. A week's worth of use convinced me, and now I use it every 3 or 4 days. It's clinically proven to whiten teeth, and I think it cleans better, too. My Magic Mud's available at most local health food stores, Sprouts, Natural Grocers, CVS, Walmart's Natural Beauty Aisle, but I can get it for you for 20% off with coupon code FTL20 at mymagicmud.com. FTL20 mymagicmud.com.
Now you can follow LRN.FM on the decentralized Mastodon social media platform at toot.lrn.fm, toot.lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live. If you are on the line now, hang on. We're going to do our best to get you on the air here in these remaining moments. If you're not... Oops, sorry. Try that again, Captain. My apologies.
It's the speed round.
Yeah, hopefully we can have folks be fast with their thoughts. And if you run out of time, we don't get you in tonight, that's okay. We're back tomorrow. Actually, Mark, you're back tomorrow.
Yes.
To head up the Sunday show.
If you don't get a chance to call in tonight, Ian doesn't care because he doesn't care about your freedom of speech.
No, that's not true. We're on 7 nights a week, 3 hours a night. And you can say almost anything you want here as long as the FCC won't shut us down for it. If they do, then we have to hit the dump. Or if they would, we'd have to hit the dump button. We don't like to do that. Makes me feel sad. So we're going to go back to your calls and thoughts. We're talking about the TikTok app and to a lesser extent the WeChat app. But according to the story at Business Insider, there really isn't any evidence at all that TikTok is spying on you.
I find that article to be more sort of indicting all apps in just saying that it didn't find anything that these apps are doing
was unusual.
that all other apps aren't already doing.
Facebook, Instagram,
right. So
all these other ones.
That is to me saying that all of these apps are spying on you.
Well, there is one aspect of this that I wanted to address before we continue with your calls, and that is what I'd originally heard about TikTok, which was that they were copying your clipboard. Remember hearing about that earlier this year?
Yeah, I think I remember that.
That's when this all got started. This whole conversation about TikTok being a spy app was after a researcher noticed that there was a security flaw where they were able to, it was apparently only iPhones, were able to access iPhone users' clipboards without their permission, meaning whatever you copied to your clipboard, TikTok would have access to it, so they could copy it into their database and, have maybe your passwords or whatever it was you were copying at the time. But then turns out researchers noted this, or that also LinkedIn and Reddit's apps were both using iOS's clipboards, reading the data on the clipboards. And all three companies now say they have altered their code after Apple started cracking down on the practice with its iOS 14 update. So the market worked in this particular instance. Somebody found a flaw, they reported it, Apple said, whoa, that's not cool. Hey, you programmers, you need to fix this. And they fixed that, including TikTok. Now, are there some vulnerabilities in TikTok? Yeah, apparently they were using insecure HTTP connections to download videos from their servers, which meant that an experienced hacker could replace somebody's video with a hacker's video. And so, it's not perfect, but most apps aren't. perfect. But there's no evidence, according to Business Insider, that this app is actually a spy app for the Chinese government. But nonetheless, Donald Trump said it is, so therefore the government must know something that we don't. So Mark's been supporting it the entire time, supporting the ban of this particular app the entire time, not knowing anything really about it, not having done any research yourself, while at the same time,
hold on, buddy, I just read an article here. I mean,
about WeChat, which is not the same thing.
It's made by the same company, and to presume that they're not just using the same code
So
seems,
now we're going to presume.
Again, breathtakingly
ban
naive.
apps based on a presumption. Let's go on back to your phone calls
Yes,
and thoughts
I
here.
presume the Chinese government is evil.
Let's talk to Gene, the Christian anarchist, calling us, watching on DLive. Go ahead, Gene.
Hey, yeah, I wanted to, I guess I could say something about China, but first I wanted to give a quick COVID update.
Okay.
In our doctors, in our office medical clinic, we have about 20 employees. About a month ago, after 6 months of treating patients, we finally had one employee that came down with coronavirus. At least she tested positive and she was sick. She got better very quickly. Wasn't a big deal. But now, this last week, we had our second employee test positive, but she caught it through her husband, who is a construction worker who got it at work. So she didn't catch it through the office. Neither did the other employee, apparently. But again, none of these people are getting terribly sick. But I wanted to point out that the CDC came out with some new guidelines this week that actually make some sense. So shocking as that is. Yes, they actually backed down on some of their nonsense. And they put out this symptomatic decision tree, and all this, it tells you what you can do if you were exposed this way or this or the other way. But at the beginning of the decision tree, it says exposure to COVID is when you are we have close contact within 6 feet or less for 15 minutes or more. Now, it doesn't say with or without a mask, but I'm going to assume that it really wouldn't matter because the masks don't do anything anyway. So they're saying you're not even considered exposed unless you've been with somebody for more than 15 minutes who had it.
Gotcha.
And
most interactions with other humans, going to the store or going to a restaurant or something, you're not going to be yammering face to face for 15 minutes straight.
Correct.
So, Gene, do you want to weigh in on this China discussion we've been having, since you are somebody who's gone there on a myriad of occasions over the years?
Well, I do want to, I think Mark might be a little bit too far off, but he's not as bad as you're thinking, because you're really giving the Chinese Communist Party a pass. Now, you know that I
think the communists should be able to write programs and distribute them too. Yeah, I'm not a communist. I'm against the violence of the state, but banning things is not the solution.
Well, let me go through a couple things here. You know that the CIA spy center in Utah is spying on pretty much everything that
That's
Americans
the NSA.
do. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, NSA, right? You are. Okay, so the Cyber Data Initiative Data Center, Cybersecurity Initiative Data Center.
Right.
At any rate, they have the capability of knowing everything we're doing and saying, unless we use some sort of encryption. Now, the Chinese are doing the exact same thing with their apps, and they're using things like the Confucius Institute, their influence in Hollywood and over basketball, and they're using the UN as an attempt to take our guns. So we must not minimize what the CDC, the CPC, the Chinese Communist Party is doing, CCP. Because
no doubt. I mean, they're doing some terrible things. I mean, we've reported on a bunch of the stuff that the Chinese government has been doing here, and
they are
it's horrible.
affecting your freedom of speech today. You don't think they are, but they are.
They are.
Well, they've certainly been cracking down on the different companies that are trying to do business in China and prohibiting them from saying things that are critical, and I think that's unfortunate. And it's a shame that those companies are allowing themselves to be pushed around, but they want to make a Chinese buck, so that's their choice. It's their company, and they can kowtow if that's what they want to do. I mean, we'll talk about it, and we certainly have done that here. And Gene, thank you for the call tonight, but that doesn't call for a ban on all things China or all apps China, if indeed you care about freedom of speech, and maybe you don't. Let's continue here. Let's go to Ken in Greencastle, Pennsylvania, listening to WEEO FM. Go ahead, Ken.
Hey, how you doing?
Hey, what's on your mind?
Good. I've been in law enforcement for like 21 years, and the conversation you guys are having is bewildering me, especially kind of your freedom of speech rant.
Yeah.
So to what extent is freedom of speech okay? I mean, to when do you ban something?
You don't.
So the TikTok app. So say it's recording video of you. You don't know. Maybe it is.
Don't
Maybe
install
it's
it.
Video of your children.
Don't install it.
Well, so your child has it, and they're recording video, and then it puts it on a porn site. And maybe that porn site creates an app that you can download on your phone. Is that okay?
If you don't want your kids creating videos, don't let them download things or don't give them a phone.
My question is it okay to ban a child porn app?
I don't think it's okay to ban anything. However, I would say this, that Google and Apple have private property. If Google and Apple would like to ban porn apps or child porn apps or whatever, then that is fully within their purview. And if Google and Apple would like to ban the TikTok app, that is fully within their purview.
I'd like to address that child porn thing. One of my deep concerns about child pornography apps, officer, is that the United States government has distributed on more than one occasion. They've been the largest distributor of child pornography in the world. For instance, the Federal Bureau of Investigations in March of 2015 took over the Playpen website and ran it for 3 weeks. And in those 3 weeks, they delivered child pornography to people in hopes of finding people to arrest. They arrested a handful out of the hundreds of thousands of images that they gave out. But if child pornography victimizes people, and I'll go ahead and grant that, should you wish, then the Federal Bureau of Investigations victimized those people, and no one wanted to hold them to account.
And it's not the first time.
And they should have been. They should have been held to account.
They should.
They should go to prison with every other pervert. But my point is, there are some things that shouldn't be out there. Doesn't matter if it's freedom of speech. Like, somebody should have put out there a manual on how to build IEDs. I mean, it's out there. It's online. But it
they called it the Anarchist Cookbook back in the day.
Freedom of speech.
I used to own a copy of the Anarchist Cookbook.
Freedom of speech means that you should have the right to acquire that and share that information, whether it's building bombs, whether it's building guns, whether it's making drugs, or whether it's making porn. You should have the freedom to express all of those things. Now, if Google and Apple want to ban some sort of app for whatever reason, they have the right to do that. It is their private property, and they can make that choice. But that said, it shouldn't be a prohibited thing from the national, federal government, or state government.
Information does not do bad things. People do bad things.
Yeah. Somebody saying that they want to ban a thing because some people might do something bad with it is a terribly terrifying concept, and it is fascism and scary authoritarianism.
It's like the ghost gunner, right? It's just information.
Right.
It's all that it is.
Yeah, I wish we could talk more about the ghost gunner, but we're out of time. But the same excuses have been made about the ghost gunner as well, and the demands to ban the idea of 3D gun plans, basically, from the internet. If you didn't get in tonight, call us tomorrow. We'll see you then. freetalklive.com.
Remember when you first heard about Bitcoin? How long did it take you to realize this little project would soon change the world? Do you kind of wish you had got involved sooner? Well, now is your chance to be a part of the next revolution in money. Intercoin is working to finally make crypto go mainstream. It's designed to be scalable enough to support everyday payments and even elections without the state. Bitcoin was originally supposed to be a peer-to-peer cash system, the way we would all pay one another without having to trust any third party. But instead, over time, it mostly became a store of value. That's because every 10 minutes, the Bitcoin network must put all transactions into a block, and that block can only hold so much. If crypto is to become mainstream for people to use it for everyday payments, we need a new architecture, one that is as secure as Bitcoin while being far more scalable. Check out intercoin.org to find out more and maybe pick up some of those coins for yourself.
There are basically two types of advertising: direct response and branding. Radio's great for direct response with its low cost to listener ratio, but audio can't be beat for branding, which is a longer term endeavor. You want to be the first thing that someone thinks of when they think about your product or service. If you have a local business that you want kept top of mind in your community, call the station. If you need national reach, Free Talk Live's got around 200 radio stations, millions of monthly listening sessions, can suit all budgets, and if we don't think we're right for you, we'll tell you. Email me, mark@freetalklive.com.
What if you want to hear the latest episode of